Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto can bring back the dead part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. It was September 10th. 10 years had passed since that day. 7 years had passed since he found out what really happened to his rival. How was he so clueless for 3 years? He thought he got over it, but he was very much mistaken. He thought he put the past behind him, but he was so very much wrong. He thought he could make up for it, but that wasn't possible in his wildest dreams. He was powerless to change it. Truth be told, this fate was his own doing. He brought this pain upon himself with his own 2 hands. A man, about 22, stood at the memorial stone. He looked at one name, which appeared on the faithful stone 10 years ago today. This young man used to visit this stone every day. However, it took a toll on him. In the end, he was lucky if he visited the stone once a month. He wanted to visit more, but his emotions held him back. At least he visited on this day, despite his breaking heart. It was the least he could do. It was still early in the day, and the sun wasn't out. Clouds darkened the morning sky, and the rain threatened to fall from the sky. The man didn't care. He took his regular seat by the post. However, his eyes never left that one name, which meant the world to him. Rain started to bomb the land, leaving nothing in its path dry. "I'm going to kill you. How can you kill me?" His eyes finally left the name, feeling ashamed. He realized he had no right to look at that name on the stone. He was the reason why it was there in the first place. "You are coming with me. You can't stop me." He buried his head in his knees. This always happened when he visited the stone. His memories haunted him, fate's way of punishing him. "You couldn't even scratch my Hittite," the boy, about 12, yelled. The rain didn't let up, hitting everything like a bomb. The young man didn't care that he was soaked. There was nothing he cared about nowadays, since he had lost everything in his life. "Chidori, Raisin Gan!" The 2 boys charged at each other with everything they had. Seconds later, there was a huge explosion. There was nothing left. A tear, masked by the downpour, ran down the man's pale face. The older boy had his hand through the blonde's chest. His nails dug into his hand, drawing blood. The blonde touched the brunette's Hittite, and the brunette's eyes widened. Soon after, the blonde passed out. Why was he weak? He was an elite jonin, an umbu for crying out loud. He shouldn't have any of these emotions, but he couldn't help it. He lost his best friend, and he was one who took his life. He didn't mean to, wait, he did. Consequently, he didn't know he would regret it this much. It was eating away at his soul. A man, about 15, stared at his old teammate, his old sensei, and 2 strangers. Only one thought went through his mind: where was the loud-mouthed blonde? The man stood facing the tree. His fists went flying. "Where's the dobe?" the brunette asked, standing by 2 other missing ninjas. One wore glasses, and the other had a face like snake. "How dare you ask that?" the kunoichi asked. He didn't understand why that question was so emotion-grabbing. He looked down to the strangers, who were using the others for support. His old sensei didn't even make eye contact with them. "I don't have time for this," the teen yelled. "We are here to bring you back," the kunoichi responded. Her pink rose hair shined in the sun. It's what he wanted. Tears formed in her eyes. "I'm not coming back." He paused, noticing the word, wanted. Wanted? What do you mean? Something was telling him that he wouldn't like the answer. "Naruto's dead," Sakura cried. Sasuke's eyes widened. The man fell to his knees. "This wasn't the way it was supposed to be. You were the one who was supposed to bring me back. You were supposed to become Hokage. The dobe's dead?" The boy stepped back like the world was falling apart around him. "How? Who?" His emotions were coming out. "You," Sakura answered, while her heart was breaking. "Me?" His voice was creaking. "Hi, you killed him the day you turned your back on the village," Kakashi explained. The young man struggled to his feet. His eyes found the name once again, Naruto Uzumaki. He walked to the stone and placed his hand on the name. "I knew you would be here, Sasuke." Sasuke turned around to see Kakashi. His old sensei was the only one who still talked to him, because Naruto wouldn't want anyone to get revenge for him. The Uchiha knew this was the Hokage's reason for letting him back into the village. "I had nowhere better to be." He felt dead, and sometimes he wished he was. His sensei didn't say anything. It was lethal to interrupt the boy when he was like this. Sasuke wasn't reasonable when he was like this. 10 years. He would have been the Rokudaime Hokage by now, if I didn't kill him. "You don't know that," Kakashi responded, remembering the blonde knucklehead. "Shut up," he stopped. "Why do you even talk to me? The others don't." He stared at his hand as he flexed it. His body felt strange to him. "Everyone needs a friend. I had a friend, and I killed him," Sasuke said, walking away. "Besides, when are you a friend?" Kakashi said a silent prayer for Naruto before chasing after the last Uchiha. Sasuke's life was never easy. He lost everything: his family, friends, purpose, etc. He had nothing to live for, and Kakashi could see that. That was the reason why the old ninja tried so hard to befriend this young man. "Leave me alone," Sasuke blustered back. He didn't listen. He would just blame it on the downpour. He wouldn't want me to, Kakashi explained, catching up with the depressed man. It doesn't matter what he would want. He's dead. You have to let it go. He wouldn't want you to live this way. I can't. I killed him. Sasuke stopped, looking back. Look at you. You haven't let him go yet either. He pointed his finger at him. Kakashi closed his eye. He would never be able to let it go. He lost his sensei, his teammates, his family, and his student, his sensei's son. True, but a jonin appeared next to them. The Hokage would like to see you now. Sasuke and Kakashi nodded. Tsunade wasn't faring too well. 10 years had gone by since her little brother was killed by the man who was on his way there. She wanted to kill the Uchiha, but Naruto wouldn't want her to. Instead, she let the traitor return to the village. She grabbed another bottle of sake and downed it. She was the Hokage without a successor. There was no one that came to mind. There was someone in the mind, but he was dead. She would have to pick someone eventually. In fact, she needed to pick one years ago. At any rate, there was no one in mind who could do the job. If she had to pick, she would pick Kakashi. She wouldn't though, if she had any other choice. He wasn't right for the job. After all, it wasn't his purpose in life. In fact, it was Naruto's purpose to be Hokage. Tears fell from her auburn eyes. You called, Kakashi spoke. Sasuke stood quietly behind for 2 reasons. 1, he wasn't in the best of moods, and 2, Tsunade was in a bad mood. Kakashi glanced back. We are waiting for 2 people, the buzzed Hokage ordered. Seconds later, Sakura and Sai entered the room. Sasuke never looked at the 2. His focus was on the wooden ground, which in his mind was better than him. Tsunade smiled. She was getting wasted. However, she needed to assign them a mission, an S-class mission. A noble had requested ninjas to guard him. This will be an S-class mission. Lady Tsunade, why today? Sakura asked. She planned to visit the memorial stone. They didn't have a body to bury, so Memorial Stone was the only place she go to visit him. She cared deeply for her teammate, who annoyed the hell out of her. It took his death to make her see it. Tsunade looked away. This is a very important noble to the land of iron. I don't see why this is an S-class mission, Kakashi commented. He believes the demonic Flash is after him, she informed them. Their eyes widened in disbelief. Demonic Flash was told to be a Sannin-class missing ninja, who had killed hundreds of people in a matter of seconds. Furthermore, he was told to be a genius. No one saw his face and lived to tell the tale. It was to the point that a warning had been sent out, retreat if spotted. The only thing known was that he dressed in all black. I pick you 3 for your special talents. Tsunade rose her glass to them. She was getting drunk. Incidentally, the Godane got violent when she was wasted. Don't let me down, you are dismissed. The sun shone through the branches of the trees, and the temperature was in the high 90s. A man, looking back every now and then, ran through a forest. Sweat ran down his face and body, which was failing him. He wouldn't be able to keep running at this rate. The fallen leaves flew up around him as he ran through them. He was overheating fast, and his breath was heavy, which added to his failing body. Looking back, the man never saw the branch in front of him. His foot caught it, sending him to the ground face first. Shit, he cursed, trying to get up. His ankle was caught in the underfoliage. Some ways back, a man in long black cloak was ninja running toward him. He wore a simple black sleeveless shirt and pants. In a matter of seconds, the cloaked man caught up with the man, trapped in the underfoliage. Please don't kill me. Show me mercy, the man pleaded. I do not show mercy, he explained. You should have helped me when you had the chance. He pulled out a long sword with a red blade, the word demon engraved on it, and pointed it at the man on the ground. The demonic Flash saw the fear on the man's face. Why kill me? I have no other purpose in life but to kill. The demonic Flash responded, before killing the man with no effort at all. He stared at the body for some time before disappearing in a flash of yellow. Get back here! No! A 4-year-old boy called back. He ran through the woods with no care in the world. He had no real idea of how the world worked. Catch me if you can. Listen to me, Gaki. Get your butt back here! The boy didn't respond. He just kept on running, paying no attention to the things around him. His laughter could be heard throughout the forest. The boy had blonde hair that could rival the sun, and his cerulean eyes were bluer than the ocean. His skin had a natural tan color, making him look exotic. I think I lost that stupid toad, the boy grinned. The toad was his babysitter, whenever his father left for work. He didn't understand how a toad could be a babysitter, nevertheless, he enjoyed the toad. Gamakichi was a good friend. It was a sunny day, and it only fueled the boy. He was jumping around, laughing at everything he saw. Wonderful thoughts filled his innocent little mind. A butterfly caught his sight. The child changed his direction and headed toward the winged bug. He reached out his little tan hands trying to catch it. His laughter stopped for a second as the bug landed on his nose. What are you doing? The boy asked the black polka dot, orange bug. That tickles. The butterfly took off and the chase was on again. Once again, the little boy's attention wasn't on the path in front of him. Thwack! The boy fell flat on his butt, causing him to glance up. A man in all black stared at the boy with his arms folded across his chest. The demonic Flash glanced around, seeing that the boy was all alone. "What are you doing?" he asked, being stoic. The boy blinked, not taking in how mad the man in front of him was. The little boy smiled before calling out, "Daddy." The boy jumped the man. The demonic Flash wrapped his arms around the boy. "Minato, where's Gamakichi?" He eyed the surrounding area. "Daddy, he's no fun." The demonic Flash put Minato down and lowered his hood, revealing his blonde hair and cerulean eyes. While his eyes and hair stood out, his whiskered-shaped marking on his face stood out more. "I don't care. I don't want you to get hurt, son." The man heard a noise, causing him to glance up. Gamakichi hopped into view with a worried look in his eyes. "I'm sorry. Naruto, he got away from me." Naruto took a deep breath. "Don't let it happen again." His warning was soft, but Gamakichi could sense how angry the older blonde was. "You can go now if you want." "Hi," the toad answered, disappearing in a poof of smoke. "Minato, please don't run off again," Naruto begged, kneeling down in front of the boy. "I can't lose you." Minato's mother died in childbirth, causing Naruto to shut down. It took a long time before he opened up again. "Hi, Daddy." Naruto stood up, picking up the small boy. He smiled. At any rate, it wasn't the same smile he had all those years ago. "Let's go home." "Daddy, can you tell me about Grandpa?" "Your grandpa, Minato Namikaze, was a great man." Naruto named his son after his father, who he found out about 8 years ago. A certain Uchiha told him about his father. Itachi rather enjoyed the look on Naruto's face when he found out that his father was the Yondaime Hokage. It was just too bad that Itachi was dead. Itachi was a great help to the blonde when everyone thought he was dead. He saved Naruto's life those 10 years ago. Sasuke walked in the back. Sakura stood directly in front of him, and Sai stood to her right. Finally, Kakashi was to her left. They would meet up with the noble, Toya, in a couple of hours. At any rate, no one really cared except Sai, who never met the knucklehead blonde shinobi. He only heard stories about Naruto, but they weren't common. Anyone who met Naruto had reawakening. He was an eye-opener. He never gave up, even when everything was against him. Why was his life cut so short? He would have done great things. Sakura looked back to the Uchiha. She disliked him with a passion, nevertheless she felt bad for him. She saw how bad he took the death of their teammate, but that didn't mean she would befriend him again or anytime soon. For Naruto, she wouldn't take revenge on Sasuke for his death. Plus, an eye for an eye made the whole world blind. Kakashi never looked back to his team. It was September 10th. He didn't want to be here, although he had no better place to be. The memorial stone was high on his list, even though he visited the stone every day. He knew so many people on the stone, but that happens when he was age 36. He could retire, if he wanted to. Life, consequently, would be very boring if he did. He may be laid back / lazy ninja. However, he wasn't going to sit back all day and do nothing. Sasuke's mood was rapidly failing. He didn't feel like doing this mission. On any other day, he would have been excited that he would be facing the demonic Flash. He would rather face Naruto again, but that wouldn't be happening in this lifetime though. Maybe they would meet in the afterlife. That was if they went to the same place. That was highly unlikely. It was a couple of hours before they arrived at Toya's estate. The noble was a wealthy man, who held a lot of power. True be told, he wasn't the nicest person around. Many people said that he had a stick up his ass. No one ever looked to see if it was true though. The butler showed them to the study, which was larger than an average-size house. There had to be thousands upon thousands of books in this very room. "Good, you're here. It took you long enough." A man entered the room through a hidden door. "Let's get down to business," he demanded. No one spoke. "My appearance is needed in a nearby town to calm the people in this difficult time," he paused. "I need you to guard me, since there are many people who want me dead. I heard that one of my enemies has hired the demonic Flash." The noble cursed silently. "Are you sure?" Kakashi spoke up. "I heard that the demonic Flash didn't take jobs like this. So why would he get mixed up with something like this?" Toya glared at the older shinobi. "Are you saying I'm unimportant?" That wasn't what Kakashi meant by that, Sakura tried to explain. "The demonic Flash isn't your ordinary missing ninja. He has killed hundreds of people in a matter of seconds, and he can disappear without a trace. No one is able to explain how he does it." "I know. That is why I'm hiring Konoha shinobi," Toya revealed. "Why us?" "There are other ninja villages," Sai inputted. "Simple, the demonic Flash has never killed a Konoha shinobi," Toya revealed. "And he hasn't harmed a Konoha shinobi. It leads me to believe that he is from your village." "Konoha doesn't have any missing ninjas at this time," Sasuke spoke, looking to the noble. Toya had no readable emotions on his face. "Then explain to me why he hasn't harmed any shinobi from your village." "We can't explain," Sakura began. Toya raised his hand to silence her. "We won't agree about this subject, so let's move on. We leave tomorrow morning." Naruto stood in the doorway of his small house watching his son get ready for bed. Naruto and his son, Minato, lived in the land of water for 3 years now. It was quiet, the way Naruto liked it. Naruto had changed since Sasuke had killed him. He wasn't that knucklehead dope that didn't know anything. He wasn't an innocent kid who believed that everyone could be saved. He learned that the hard way, when he lost 2 important people. Yes, Naruto had fallen in love, and yes, they both were dead. One was killed in battle, and the other died in childbirth. He closed his heart, leaving his son the only one allowed in. Minato was his purpose and the only thing he cared about. That was why Naruto became the demonic Flash. He did it to support his son. There were many evils in the world. Daddy? Minato yelled from his bed. Naruto made his way to his son. He didn't have a father, so he was trying to be the father he could possibly be. Hi, tell me more about Grandpa, the boy asked, but not really asking. Sure. Naruto sat on the bed. Minato Namikaze the First was the inventor of the Hiraishin no Jutsu. He used that jutsu to save Konoha. You can do the Hiraishin no Jutsu, right? Hi, Naruto smiled. Learning that technique was difficult, since he had to learn it through scrolls, which he stole from the Hokage office. Can you show me? Minato asked excitedly. Naruto hesitated. He didn't want his son to follow in his footsteps. He had a hard life, and he had to save himself from the darkness that came with it. He didn't have anyone. Besides, being a ninja was dangerous. He could lose his life as well as his son, if he wasn't careful. No, but Daddy, you are too young, maybe when you are older. Really? The little blonde jumped out of bed. He was a mini Naruto in personality, but he looked a lot like his grandpa when Minato the First was younger. You could say he looks like his dad as well, considering Naruto looked like Minato the First. Maybe, depends on how you act, and running away from Gamakichi won't help your case, Naruto explained. Time for bed. Minato nodded. Naruto left the boy and let gravity overtake him. He would have to kill another person tomorrow, but he didn't care. He would kill the noble and be done with it. Normally, he wouldn't have taken a low-level job, but this Toya person pissed him off. He was a part of the child market. He heard this from many different sources, who were able to escape the noble. That was the reason why Naruto took this job. He wanted to kill that man with a passion, since he considered killing this man a way to protect his son. It was a public service really. It was getting late, and Tsunade was still drinking. She was going to a major headache, when the next morning. Little did she know, Jiraiya entered the room a few minutes ago. He saw the bottle after bottle of sake on the ground. Sure, he missed Naruto, but he wasn't going to drink himself to death. Tsunade was though. Tsunade, he whispered, trying not to anger her. She was dangerous at any time, but she would kill, when she was like this. Jiraiya, she uttered. Naruto's death had affected her more than anyone would ever know. She lost the only person she ever cared for. However, she was only like this once a year. September 10th would be hell for her until she learned to let go. He wouldn't want you to do this to yourself. No, don't go there, she said, grabbing another bottle of sake. Just let me have this, she pleaded to protect the way she coped. She wasn't sane on this day. Not many people were. For 10 years you have been like this. It has to end. Tsunade stood up, but neither gravity nor her balance were on her side. She was rocking side to side as she tripped. Can you bring the Gaki back to life? She pointed the bottle at him. No, so leave me alone. He wouldn't want you to drink yourself to death. I know, she paused, changing the mood. He would have been something great. She took another drink before passing out. Jiraiya rushed to her side. She's going to be nasty in the morning, the Toad Sage commented. He picked her up and took her home. Leaving the Hokage's mansion, Jiraiya was left thinking. Life would have been different if Minato didn't seal the fox demon in Naruto. If Sasuke and Naruto weren't placed on the same team. If they only gotten to the Valley of Death sooner. Naruto would have been saved. Naruto would be alive. He was only 12. He was too young to die, as was his father. Life wasn't fair. Everyone was affected by the blonde's death, well, besides the toads. Jiraiya couldn't understand why. He knew the toads liked Naruto, but they didn't react to the boy's death. They didn't order Jiraiya to find another toad summoner, which was weird. He summoned Gamabunta to find out why, but the chief toad just chased him around, not telling him anything. None of the toads did, in fact. Did they find someone else? No, that was impossible. He had the scroll and there weren't any new names on it. Nothing makes sense. 10 years. It was too quiet without that Gaki. Why did you have to die, kid? Jiraiya was a colossal pervert, but he stopped peeping on this day, or at least tried. He wasn't perfect, but it was the way he honored the son of the Yondaime Hokage. That was what he regretted the most. The boy died without knowing who his father was. He would have loved to see Naruto's face when he found out about his father. However, people thought it would be dangerous if he knew. Little did they know, he died feeling abandoned by his parents/strangers, since he didn't even know their names. Naruto, you broke so many hearts. When you died, he whispered up to heaven, knowing the blonde was too innocent to go anywhere else. The house, where Minato and his father lived, was rather small, with just one bedroom and a living room/kitchen. Despite the fact that the wooden cabin was tiny, it was home, a place where his father let down his mask. Outside, his father was strict and cold, but once he entered the cabin he turned into a fun-loving father. Minato thought the cabin was magical, but he was too young to understand why his father was like this. When Minato pushed his little self out of bed, he hit the floor with a loud thump. The 4-year-old couldn't reach the floor from the top of the bed. He sneaked out of his room to the kitchen. He spotted his father, whose mouth hanged wide open, passed out on the sofa. His arms and legs hanged over the side of the sofa. The boy tried not to laugh at the sight of his overprotective father, passed out on the sofa. Minato, with an evil look, headed to the kitchen to get a glass of ice-cold water to dump on Naruto's head. Haha, the boy smirked coming back from the kitchen. Minato stood, staring for a while at his father, wondering what his father would do. If he dumped the clear liquid on his head, it was worth it. Minato was about to dump it on his head, when his father suddenly disappeared. In a matter of seconds he was soaked in ice-cold water. H. Minato cried out. Son, Naruto shook his head in shame. If you want to prank me, you need to be quieter. He had a goofy smile on his tan face. I heard you long before you entered the room. I have a reputation to uphold for crying out loud. I can't let my own son spoil it by being able to prank me. Minato was freezing. I will be able to outprank him soon enough. Don't worry, father, I will carry out of our family name. I will be the best prankster ever. The boy cheered. The little boy rubbed his nose, trying to look innocent. That's the spirit. Naruto patted Minato, who was grinning ear to ear, on the head. I'm going out again. What? Not again. Daddy, you promised you would teach me something cool. I never said that, Gaki. Naruto eyed his son seriously. Minato was dangerous when he wanted to be. When it came to his son, age didn't matter. He had already mastered some jutsu already. Minato would try to copy his father whenever Naruto was training, not that he let his son watch. Even though Naruto didn't want this life for his son, he would teach Minato how to do the jutsu properly. He would rather his son get the jutsu right than not, and hurt himself. You said last night. I said when you were older, Minato, Naruto interrupted. There was still an uneasy feeling in the air. Minato was up to something. Although he couldn't put one over his father, it was a matter of time. One day, he would be able to prank his father, and Naruto knew this. He was okay with this realization, since it would mean that his son was ready for the real world, a cruel world. But, no buts. But daddy! Fake tears formed into his eyes. Naruto rubbed his forehead and sighed. He was only 22, yet he had a 4-year-old son. He was too young for this. I said no, Minato. He began to wonder how people dealt with him, when he was Minato's age. The golden sun shone through the noble's mansion, waking up everyone and everything in its path. There wasn't a cloud in the sky to block out the morning's rays. The birds were singing outside Sakura's window. It was peaceful to wake up to it, even though she had nightmares during the night. Naruto was the main focus of her dreams, well except when she dreamt of killing a certain raven. Sasuke had destroyed everything that fateful day. Nothing was ever the same after that. Sakura was never the same after that. There was no one to bug her. No one to ask her out all the time, well except from Lee, but that didn't count. No one to brighten her day after long missions. Naruto brought joy to her life, even though he annoyed her. He made her feel important, and now she felt lost. When Sasuke returned, she felt worse. It wasn't fair. Sasuke should have been the one to die, not Naruto. Sure, she liked Sasuke when they were children, but he turned his back on the village and her. He only thought about himself. No one was ever good enough for the Uchiha, unlike Naruto, who put others first. Sakura didn't realize what Naruto meant to the village and to her until it was too late. Life wasn't fair. What would Naruto look like now if he was alive? How would her life be, if he was still alive? Would he still be the same Naruto? Don't do this to yourself, Sakura thought. She had a mission to complete. She mustn't think this way. She had to let him go. She couldn't. She loved him, the baka. She was in love with a dead guy. Life really sucked. Sakura made her way to the others. Kakashi was reading his porno, Sasuke was silent, and Sai was making stupid remarks. No one bothered to tell him to shut up. Toya, on the other hand, wasn't so nice. There wasn't a word to describe it. Toya was getting everything in order for the trip. He was loudly ordering his servants to make everything to his liking, which was impossible. After a couple hours of yelling, they were finally on the move. The 4 Konoha shinobi were stationed around Toya and his few items. Kakashi was in the back, Sasuke was in the front, and Sai and Sakura were positioned at the sides. It didn't take long before Toya was cursing at the ninjas. He believed that they were taking the wrong position in guarding him. No one listened to him, which only caused him to yell louder. No one really cared what he said, even his own servants, who were carrying his few items and him, of course. Few hours later, Sakura was beyond annoyed at the moment. Sasuke was a silent statue for most of the time, but he would say something rude every once in a while. Kakashi was reading his nasty book, and Sai made comments whenever it was possible. I wonder what Naruto would say in this situation, Sakura thought. He'd probably be yelling at Toya for being selfish or something. Sakura was having a hard time keeping her tears from falling. Naruto, why did you have to promise me that you would bring Sasuke back? You would still be alive if you didn't go after him. I hate Sasuke. Sakura kept her eyes forward. She had a mission to complete. She couldn't be thinking about him at a time like this. Shit! Sasuke yelled out. What? Sakura asked. Can't you sense that? The raven asked as everyone came to a sudden stop. Someone is watching us at this very moment. I can't believe no one sensed him. Sai glanced around before speaking. His chakra is still well hidden. If it is well hidden, Sakura snapped, then how can you sense him? Kakashi put his book away as he readjusted his height. He is letting us sense him now, he's testing us. Probably to see how strong we are, Kakashi growled. He didn't like how this was turning out. There was no doubt in his mind that this was the demonic flash that he heard so much about. Toya, stay in the middle of us with your servants. Do not move! Kakashi ordered. Naruto left Minato back in the cabin with Gamakichi and Gamatatsu. However, he didn't believe that Minato would stay in the cabin for too long. Naruto tried to lock in him, but it would never ended well. In the end, Naruto gave up on locking the boy in. The blonde never let it on though. He just prayed that his son wouldn't go too far from home, which was why he had both Toad brothers watching him. That, however, wouldn't stop the little boy from doing what he wanted. He made his way through the branches to Toya's path. The wind gusted around him, making him look like he was flying. The sun flickered through the branches of the trees and brightened up his face. He wasn't Naruto anymore per se. He was the demonic Flash now. His eyes were focused forward on the unwanted path in front of him. His heart was against this vile path, but he didn't have any other choice in the matter. It was this or nothing. The killings had turned his heart to stone. The blood had turned him cold. The demonic Flash was a killer, nothing more than that. Nothing stood in his life path as he flew to his prey. Sure, he had options, but he wasn't going to take them. Going back to Konoha after 10 years wasn't a smart idea. The village, he was sure, was glad that their demon was dead, and he wasn't going to go somewhere he wasn't wanted. As in a flash, the demonic Flash had the target in his sight. Toya looked unaware of life in general, and looking at the way he treated his servants, the old greedy noble was clueless, not knowing how evil or stupid he was being, or maybe he did. Thus, the reason for his death. The land of iron will get along better if he was dead in Naruto's mind. Naruto's heart missed a beat when he caught sight of the ninjas guarding the bastard. Team 7, minus him plus one other, were guarding Toya. What was the world coming to? His old team, which he avoided at all costs, was in his direct path. Naruto, making sure his chakra was hidden, felt sick from this sudden new information. He could go back to his employer and turn down the mission. However, 1, he never turns down a mission after accepting it. 2, he had already seen his old team, and there was no turning back after that. It was true that he never attacked a Konoha ninja, but that wasn't for his love of the village. Although, he did still care for Tsunade in some way, and he didn't want to give her more paperwork. Despite his feeling for Tsunade, his so-called friends, or even the village, he wasn't stupid enough to piss off the Hokage or take on the Leaf Village. That was very stupid indeed. The village was powerful. Naruto knew it was those 10 years ago, and he was sure it was even stronger now. Sasuke, Sakura, and even the unknown ninja were powerful, and he was sure the rest of his classmates were at that same level. Sure, he knew the Hiraishin no Jutsu, but he couldn't take on a village with that many powerful ninjas. Especially a village that knew how the jutsu worked. The sun was directly overhead. Now was the time to strike. There wasn't anything that Naruto could do. He couldn't turn his back on his word. He said he would take the life of that man, and he would do it, damn it. He made himself comfortable in the tree and let his presence be known. I wonder how long it will take them to notice me, Naruto thought. I wonder how strong they have become. Naruto glanced over to his old sensei, Kakashi, who getting up in age. Maybe after this fight, he will retire, Naruto hoped. He didn't know why he even cared, since the man never paid any attention to him in the least. It was always about the Uchiha. The blonde had a boiling hatred of the last Uchiha, and he would like nothing else than to teach that bastard a lesson. That was a plus. At least he would have to fight Sasuke to get to the noble, and he was sure that the team will be the first to step up. Naruto would take out the Uchiha first, then the unknown ninja. Kakashi would be up after that. Sakura would be last. He was sure she wouldn't put up fight after seeing her teammates fall. He took a deep breath. After this, he would have to move and stuff, since Konoha wouldn't look past the defeat of few of their strongest shinobi. It was still beyond him how Sakura was one of the village's strongest. Well, it had been over 10 years. A lot could have changed in that time. Shit! Sasuke yelled out. About time, the demonic Flash thought as he noticed how the Uchiha's body froze. What? Sakura asked. Can't you sense that? The raven asked as everyone came to a sudden stop. Someone is watching us at this very moment. I can't believe no one sensed him. The unknown shinobi glanced around before speaking. His chakra is still well hidden. If it is well hidden, Sakura snapped, then how can you sense him? Naruto also laughed as he saw the book in Kakashi's hands when he put it away. That man will never change. He is letting us sense him now. He's testing us. Probably to see how strong we are, Kakashi growled, readjusting his height. Toya, stay in the middle of us with your servants. Do not move, Kakashi ordered. Naruto thought, this should be fun. This time, he let his chuckled out. Show yourself, Sasuke ordered upon hearing the assassin laugh. Show time, Naruto thought to himself. The demonic assassin lowered himself to the ground in front of the enraged Uchiha. I'd better change my voice just to make sure no one recognizes it. A temper, I see, the assassin waved his fingers in a shame on you motion. Temper blinds people. Shut it. The Uchiha growled. Already, Sasuke? He got you mad already? The unknown ninja commented, taking out some kind of scroll. Sai, that's enough, Kakashi ordered. Naruto glanced over to Sai for a second. So they have replaced me with an idiot, no less. They probably thought I was an idiot. I have no problems with Konoha, so stand aside and let me have the noble. Not a chance, Sakura yelled, eyeing the demonic flash. The assassin cocked his head, taking it all in. There was no way to get out of fighting these people. You people don't stand a chance against me. There was no tone to his voice. Sasuke glanced back to his teammate. I will fight you alone. Are you sure, Uchiha? Sai asked, deciding whether he should protest or not. I am sure, Sasuke. We don't know his skills, Kakashi tried to reason with him. It is risky to fight with him alone. I don't care, the raven growled. I will defeat him, there is no doubt about that. Naruto narrowed his eyes. This was getting annoying rather fast. This was one of the things he didn't miss about his old team, if you could call them a team. Uchiha, you should listen to your squad leader. Don't tell me what to do. Why not? If I don't, you will do something stupid, the blonde teased, reaching for his katana. But that's nothing new. Sasuke didn't respond. Instead, he charged forward. It didn't take long before metal went flying, but nothing made it past the katana. He's pretty good for being a team, Naruto thought. Too bad he's just too slow. He was able to dodge every attack. A good thing though, I don't want to use the Hiraishin Jutsu, since there is no doubt that Hatake will recognize it. Naruto pushed off the ground and flipped over the raven. Is that the best you can do? He shouldn't be teasing the last Uchiha, even if he deserved every bit of it. I'm just getting started, Sasuke growled. Unlike his feet, his hands moved fast enough that Naruto missed some of the signs. Good, there's improvement, Naruto commented, being forced to quickly dodge a fireball. He swung his sword at the man, and despite the distance between them, Sasuke was thrown backwards into an oak tree. He didn't even hit Sasuke. How was he able to do that? Naruto heard Sakura ask. He could tell from her voice that she was rather impressed, despite the fact her teammate was in danger. It sounded like she didn't even care, which was funny to him. This is why I didn't want Sasuke going alone, Kakashi commented. Then go and help, Toya snapped, glaring at the Konoha ninjas. No, Sasuke must learn this lesson on his own. Sai's eyes never left the demonic flash. He's not invincible. You don't care if your teammate dies? Toya inquired while Sasuke forced himself to stand. No, we do. Sai means we will step in when the time is right, Kakashi corrected the noble. And besides, Sasuke isn't done yet. Naruto had to force his laughter down. I should have expected that from Hatake. Uchiha was always the most important in his eyes. He turned his attention back to the incoming Uchiha. This time, Sasuke's Sharingan was activated and blazing down upon him. Ha ha! The Sharingan is useless against me. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Naruto called out, knowing this jutsu could reveal him as a ninja of Konoha. He doubted, however, that they would make that connection. Sasuke froze as the assassin's two clones appeared. Impossible, Sasuke muttered out. How is that possible? What surprise at his jutsu? It's just a simple cloning jutsu, Sai muttered. It's not that, Sasuke snarled. My Sharingan is useless. I can't see his chakra. However, that didn't mean he still couldn't use the Sharingan. They were still useful. Naruto felt Kakashi's Sharingan study him. Impossible, Kakashi uttered. This time, the blonde let out his laughter for the world to hear. It's not impossible. Sasuke was losing control over himself as he listened to this man, who seemed to know all the right buttons to push. It was like he knew him or something. Then explain it to me, he demanded. Why would I do that? You wouldn't tell me your tricks, so why should I tell you mine? Naruto teased. This was way too much fun. At this rate, he might do something he would regret. He was getting too friendly with these people. Shut it, Sasuke growled. I have a right to know. No, you don't, Naruto hissed. His change in tone had alerted the group. You may be an Uchiha by blood, but you will never be a real Uchiha. Sasuke's temper was on the rise, and everyone was able to sense it. What the hell do you know? The demonic flash dodged the incoming punches and kicks from the wild Uchiha. I have met a real Uchiha, and you aren't him, he whispered in Sasuke's ear. Yeah, who was that? Your brother Itachi. That was the last name he wanted to hear out of the assassin's mouth, and he was sure to show it. How dare you? Half listening to the enraged Uchiha, Naruto glanced over to the others to see their stoic faces. I expected that much. He turned his attention back over to the fight. How dare I what? Say your brother is a better man? He laughed, when he spotted the horror on the Uchiha's face. Itachi will never be a better man than I, says the guy who left his village in search of power, killed his teammate, and almost attacked his own village. Naruto narrowed his eyes. Of course no one saw it. No one saw his glare either, as did he. The fight continued on. In contrast, the assassin didn't see signs of exhaustion. What makes him so special? He did it to protect the village even if it brought him pain. He killed his clan, a clan that was planning to overtake the village, Naruto corrected. Silence followed for some time. No one knew how to respond to that piece of information. Don't believe me? He shrugged. It doesn't really matter. He was a better man than you. Don't compare me to my brother. I'm not. You will never be able to compare to him. Naruto readied himself for the enraged Uchiha, since it was rather clear how angry he was. You don't know me. The colossal battle kicked off again. It was hard to keep up with the two shinobi since they never stayed in one spot for too long. I know you rather well, Uchiha. The demonic flash blustered as he sent the raven back into a tree again. You were the top of your class in school. An honor that earned you a spot on a team with two people who you hated more than anything. You saw them as inferior to you. He paused, but nevertheless the three of you grew stronger, but not strong enough for your liking. One teammate was getting stronger, unlike you, so you decided to leave the village. That teammate, however, tried to stop you and you killed him. Crickets could be heard. You only care about power and nothing else matters. Shut up, I'm right. There is no use in denying it. You don't know anything about me. I was there when you killed your blonde teammate, Naruto revealed. I was there when you killed Itachi as well. Not possible, Kakashi muttered, causing Sasuke and the demonic flash to glance back at him. There was no one else around when Nahi was killed. He couldn't bring himself to say the boy's name, but I was. He wore an orange jumpsuit and had whiskers-shaped impressions across his checks, Naruto spoke. The idiot believed in his teammate. What a shame that he was killed by his teammate. He was an idiot, so what can you expect? He wasn't an idiot. Sakura hollered as her nails dug into her flesh. He was a loyal, honorable teammate, Naruto snorted. I wasn't expecting that. So says the very girl who called him a baka and hit him over the head repeatedly. After the katana disappeared back under his cloak, he folded his arms across his chest. He was the village's idiot. Shut up. He hollered at himself. He was being careless and he knew it. How would you know? Sakura asked. You never met him? Toya had an evil look on his face. You must have been a ninja from Konoha since you knew this boy they are talking about. We don't have any missing ninjas at this time, Sai stated. Naruto's eyes widened. Toya is smarter than I give him credit for. I don't have a village, never had and never will. He froze. I what? Sasuke asked, catching sight of the demonic flash. Naruto felt his heart drop. The special kunia that he gave Minato was thrown, which meant that he was in danger. I told him to only throw it in case of an emergency. With that special kunia, Naruto was able to transport to the user with the Hiraishin no Jutsu. Today is your lucky day. A once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I have to go and leave this mission unfinished. First, when it comes to me, you aren't going anywhere. Kakashi appeared behind the demonic flash. You don't have a choice in the matter. Naruto hollered. Time is of the essence. Minato is in danger, and the Hiraishin Jutsu is his only hope. I can't use in front of them. Hatake will recognize it. The situation wasn't turning in his favor. There is no escape. We are taking you back to Konoha. Sai appeared next to his teammates. You will meet your end there. I will never set foot in that place ever again, Naruto hissed. He would do whatever it took to save his son even if it meant using its chakra. Toya chuckled. So it seems I was right. Naruto froze. He had just revealed too much information. I have lived in Konoha before, but I didn't belong. What do you mean? Sakura asked, joining her teammates, who had now formed a box around Naruto. That village had destroyed my family, and I would rather see it destroyed. I just won't have a hand in it. I'm not stupid enough to take on one of the most powerful villages around. Naruto hissed. What do you mean? Sai asked. He wasn't the only one who was clueless in this situation. My father gave up his life to protect the village, only to have his last wish disgraced by the village, and by his own student. Naruto's fists were in a tight ball. Who are you talking about? Sakura asked. My father, the Yondaime Hokage, gave up everything for that stupid village. Naruto's hands moved too fast to see the signs he was forming. That means Kakashi couldn't breathe. His sensei's son was in front of him, which only meant one thing. It has to be him, but that's not possible. The Yondaime didn't have a child. Sakura responded. The assassin looked over to her. Hiraishin no Jutsu, Naruto yelled out. In a flash of yellow, the demonic flash was gone, leaving everyone speechless. A special kunai rested in the tree a few yards from the user, who was barely old enough to walk a few feet on his own. The blonde child was alone in the small clearing of trees except for 2 men inches from the kunai. He almost hit us, the fatter of the 2 men commented. It was unbelievable that he could even move for how fat he was. He will go big in the children market, the tall brown-haired man smirked, sizing up the small boy. I wonder what else the boy can do, as do I. Minato felt a sudden emotion of failure overcome him. I should have listened to Daddy. He had escaped the two toads a few hours. It wasn't too difficult to do, considering the two toads were easily overpowered. Any shiny object would, and well, of course, food would work. The light started to dim as Minato backed up. Where is Daddy? The kunai should have worked unless he can't think that. Tears started to form in his eyes, but he wasn't going to shed them. He was a big boy, as so he believed, and he didn't want the two men to think he was weak. I am not going with Yu. You have no choice in the matter. One of them responded to the scared boy. We will get big bucks for you. Toya will be pleased, very pleased, the other one said, moving closer to Minato. What is this? He stuttered as a warm liquid ran down his throat. A kunai was pressed firmly against his pale skin by a man in a black cloak. The demonic flash had his free hand directed at the other man, whose eyes were widened with fear. Give me one reason why I shouldn't kill you, he snarled rather viciously. Dead silence followed. No answer? Minato, close your eyes and cover your ears. You don't need to see this, he ordered his son. Yes, Daddy. The free man looked to the boy, then to Naruto. I see it now, neither men would ever speak again. Minato sat on the sofa, waiting for his father to yell at him. Naruto paced back and forth in the living room. It was like that for hours, after Minato told his father the whole story. They worked for Toya, Naruto uttered softly, barely loud enough for Minato to hear. It's too late to go after the noble now. I will just have to wait a while before killing him. Minato was trying his best to hear every word out of his father's mouth. In fact, he was listening so hard that he landed floor. In a flash, Naruto appeared on the floor with his son. What are you doing? He asked innocently, like he was clueless to the whole situation. Naruto found it hard being serious with his son, which was a problem in situations like this. The 4-year-old child muttered, jumping onto the sofa with his tiny legs. Minato, we need to talk. Naruto eyed the boy, who was too smart for his age, from the floor. You were almost kidnapped today. Why? Because you didn't listen to me. What if I arrived a minute later? You would have been sold and I would never have found you. But Daddy, you will always be able to find me, and you would always be able to get to me in time, since you know the Hermi no Jutsu. Naruto narrowed his eyes. First, that's not the point. 2. I need a special seal to use that jutsu. What if you didn't have that kunai on you, huh? 3. I was in a battle with a strong shinobi and it was difficult for me to get away. In fact, I had to use the Hiraishin no Jutsu just to get away. Someone saw you use it? Minato gasped. His father would only use that technique in private as not to reveal the jutsu to others. To make matters worse, I did it in front of the one person who can identify it. Naruto snorted, thinking of his old sensei. Things will only get tricky from now on. We can't stay in one place for long now. Minato's eyes widened. He liked it here. He had no interest in leaving. He, however, didn't have a say in the matter. No, Daddy, I have no choice. Naruto glared at the floor. You are an intelligent kid, Minato. You knew what would happen if my secret got out. He lifted himself off the ground. We leave in the morning. But Daddy, the boy whined. Naruto hated it when the boy was like this. Being a single parent sucks, but it is better than being parentless. I will teach you a new jutsu if you shut up. The boy was silent immediately. What a sad sight, his voice of reason appeared, to have to bribe your son to shut up. What a sad sight indeed. Kakashi was in a state of utter disbelief. The demonic flash had used a jutsu that died with the creator. The Hiraishin no Jutsu had only one, Minato Namikaze aka the Yondaime Hokage. According to Minato, only a blood relative could use the jutsu, which meant what the assassin said was true, he was in fact the son of the Yondaime Hokage. With regards to that, Kakashi knew the man well enough to know he had only one son, who was killed 10 years ago. He only one son? He tried to make the pieces fit in his head. He's dead, what if he's not? His body was never found. He shook his head. That didn't make sense. He would have come back to the village, if he was alive. He cares too much about the village not to let's say he is alive. How did he learn the Hiraishin no Jutsu? There is no one that is able to teach him. The pieces all fit in his head, no body, the toads, the assassin, the information that he had, etc. He knew too much information about Sasuke and the village. It has to be him. Kakashi made up his mind. Everything stood around speechless at the transportation jutsu the assassin used, and also the fact that the Yondaime Hokage may had a long-lost son. Toya was the first to speak. We should get going. Yes, we should, Sai responded as he glanced over to Kakashi. We have a long journey in front of us. The others nodded in agreement. Kakashi snapped out of his deep thought. Okay, but after we get Toya to his destination, I have to see the Hokage immediately. Why? Sakura asked, getting the group moving again. I know the identity of the demonic flash, Kakashi announced, which caused the whole group to stop on a dime. Who? Sasuke demanded, coming face to face with the silver-haired Jounin. I need to talk to Jiraiya and Tsunade first. I need to get their input on this matter. If I'm right, everything changes for the better, I hope. Though it could end badly, if we don't go about this the right way, Kakashi advised. Naruto, was that you? Why didn't you come back to the village? What had changed to make your life come out this way? Kakashi was getting a headache. The sun is waking up and the moon is going to sleep. Wow, that was a weird way in describing the sun and moon, but Minato liked to describe things like that. He liked to look at the world differently. It made life different. It made life more exciting. Wait, wasn't life already exciting? Not in the matter that you can die at any minute. Well, that was exciting in a way anyways. Risks made life worth living. Minato's eyes were heavy and his feet were dragging dirt as he walked behind his father. They have been up for a few hours now, and to Minato's displeasure, it was still dark outside when his father started to poke at him. The boy wasn't a morning person in any way. He would sleep to noon if he could, but Naruto wouldn't let him. Naruto was a morning person, which was one of the few differences that Naruto and Minato had. According to Naruto, Minato took after his mother in this way. She was a night bird and it drove Naruto crazy. The only way Minato knew about his mother was due to his father. However, Naruto didn't talk much about her. Minato had to twist Naruto's arm to get him to talk about her, and trust me, it wasn't easy. Daddy? The boy whined. I'm getting tired. He started to bring out the fear tears. Naruto glanced back for a second. We just started, boy. But Daddy! My feet hurt. Minato cried. Now, he may have been 4, but he wasn't a crybaby. He knew how to make his father annoyed. Naruto's eye twitched. Not this again. The demonic flash could kill hundreds in seconds. However, he couldn't deal with tears. They were his worst enemy. But Daddy! No! The ground was wet with tears. But Daddy! Naruto froze. Minato trapped him, and he knew it. I will carry you, Gaki. I am not a Gaki. The boy yelled, while his tears vanished. He pushed back his sleeves like Naruto did when he was younger. Naruto cocked his eyebrow. The tears have stopped. No need to carry your heavy. But then. A small smile was present on the older blonde's face. Minato froze. No! My feet hurt. I can't walk anymore. It doesn't seem like it, son. Minato jumped into his father's chest. They hurt, Daddy? Please don't make me walk, the boy cried. Naruto felt the tears soak his favorite shirt and knew he had lost the battle. The replacement team had arrived in no time, and Kakashi and the others were on their way back to Konoha in great speed. Kakashi wanted to get there as soon as possible. If he was right, they didn't have time. There was no way to tell how much distance Naruto could get between them. He just hoped the blonde wasn't using the Hiraishin no Jutsu, because there would be no way to catch him then. The Hiraishin Jutsu was an impressive jutsu with a few downsides. However, Naruto's speed could make up for that. Sasuke, Sai, and Sakura followed closely behind the copycat ninja. Sai was asking stupid questions which annoyed Sakura to no end. She would hit him the same way she hit a certain blonde teammate, which annoyed Sasuke to no end. He was close to hitting her, but he knew better than to show that level of emotion over a dead teammate. It was amazing that Kakashi didn't run into anything, considering how deep in thought he was. I wonder how everyone is going to react to this news if it turns out to be true. He could only guess, but then again it was only a guess. A young blonde man, about 17, found a very comfortable spot at the base of a tree. His hands rested behind his head. His cerulean eyes were closed. It looked like he was sleeping, but he was fully conscious. His senses rested on a young girl, dancing a few yards in front of him. He could hear every one of her movements as if he could see her. In his mind's eyes, he could see the wind blow in her golden amber hair. He could see her light-colored skin and almost feel her skin against his. She stopped dancing and made her way toward the sleeping blonde. Finished dancing already? He asked, only moving his mouth. Well, not really, she answered with a hint of hope in her voice. She lowered herself down to him and cuddled with him somehow. Her head fit nicely on his shoulder. Her pink lips pressed against his ear. I don't want to dance alone. His eyes opened. He stared at her from the corner of his eyes. I don't dance, Aimi. He brushed her hair out of her beautiful eyes. Naruto, she begged, dance with me. Ninjas don't dance, Naruto calmly explained. She looked him over. I don't see any height. You are no ninja, she joked, pushing herself up off the blonde. She took off in the other direction. Naruto flipped himself off the ground and took off after her. I will show you a ninja, he yelled. In a matter of seconds, Aimi was trapped in his arms with her arms pinned between them. Let me go, I thought you wanted to dance together, she stared into his cerulean eyes. Really? He nodded and her face lit up. I love you, she exclaimed. He grabbed her lips with his. It was a long, passive kiss. I love you too. She smiled. I would die if anything ever happens to you, he told her before kissing her again. The sun was shining like it was shining that day. Naruto felt his heart ping, so he tried to force her out of his mind. She was dead, and it hurt thinking about her. He could still smell her on his skin and remember the feel of her touch, her skin, her hair. It was like she was still there with him in a way she was. She had given him the best gift he could ever ask for. She loved him for him even with all his problems. She gave him a son, a beautiful boy, who was very much like him. It killed him that she died and he could have saved. He should have gone to Tsunade when Aimi was pregnant, but no, he didn't want anything to do with that village. Aimi's pregnancy was difficult, and they were very much aware of the risks. He wanted her to give up the child. However, she wouldn't hear of it no matter what he said. He should have gone to Tsunade, but he despised that village. It used and abused him. There was no way he would have ever gone back to that village. Now, however, he cursed himself every day for not going to Tsunade. Aimi would be alive if he did, and for that, he hated himself. Naruto was looking off into the distance, while Minato slept on his head. Minato was the only reason he got up in the morning. Minato was the only reason he went on living. Minato was the only reason he still cared. Minato was the only thing keeping Naruto sane at that moment in time. Without Minato, Naruto would probably be dead or killing everything in sight. The sleeping boy meant more to him than either of them would ever know. Naruto didn't pack much for Minato and himself. He believed packing less was a good thing when being on the run. There was less things to worry about, and he had enough money on him that if he needed something, he could buy it. The blonde assassin walked slowly as not to wake up the boy on his head. He was sure the boy would cry upon being woken up. Minato may have been a smart 4-year-old, but he was still a child. He still cried when he didn't get his way, but hey, he was still better behaved than any other children his age. A small town appeared in the distance. It brought a faint smile to his face as he faintly heard sweet children. Naruto was a sucker for children, partly due to the weight on the shoulders. He could feel the boy shift his weight. "Let us find some place to sleep," Naruto whispered. They entered the village a few seconds ago, making their way to the Hokage Tower. Konoha was crowded today for some odd reason. There were so many people, who were busy shopping with huge smiles glued to their faces. It made Sasuke sick to his stomach. How could anyone ever be that happy? He wasn't. Sasuke glanced around to Sakura and Sai, who were fighting yet again. He was this close to killing them. The only thing that was stopping him was the memory of Naruto. He was sure the Dobe wouldn't want him to kill them. "Can you two stop it?" he growled. Sasuke pushed past the two idiots and ended up next to Kakashi. "Who is he?" "You will find out after I talk to Tsunade and Jiraiya," Kakashi whispered so not to be bothered by the other two as well. Sasuke hissed, walking shoulder to shoulder with Kakashi. "I have a right to know," he said, narrowing his eyes. Kakashi sighed. Sasuke hadn't shown this much interest in anything anymore, after he had heard of Naruto's death. It was quite ironic that he was showing interest again. If Kakashi was right, Naruto would be the only person able to get any emotions out of Sasuke even without the Uchiha knowing. Kakashi shifted his weight and slightly picked up speed. "Maybe and maybe not," he uttered. "Tell me." Sasuke burst, and everything got quiet rather fast. Everyone was looking at the four ninjas. Sasuke glared. Sakura pointed at Sasuke in a state of disbelief. Sasuke didn't make outbursts like that. Only a certain dead knucklehead blonde shinobi made outbursts like that. "Tell you what?" she asked. "The demonic flash," Sasuke hissed. "Kakashi won't tell." He eyed Kakashi. "I want to talk to Tsunade first." Kakashi waved them off. He started to walk away from them, but they followed right behind him. Sai looked from Sasuke and Sakura, who both looked rather annoyed. "You must know personally the identity of the demonic flash," Sai accused. Kakashi looked forward. "Why do you say that?" While Sasuke and Sakura stared at the back of their old sensei's head, Sai went on. "You were the student of the Yondaime Hokage. Teachers and students are close, so I expect you were close to your sensei." The look in Sai's eyes was hard to place. In addition, it also looked like he dropped his childish attitude. "I take it you were close enough to him to know if the Yondaime had any children. I also take it that you knew all about this secret technique." Kakashi looked away, thinking. "I knew of them, but I wouldn't say I knew them," he muttered. "You look surprised. When the assassin used the transportation jutsu. You know who it is. You must have met the man before," Sai accused. Kakashi glanced up to the sky. "Maybe or maybe not, but you will have to wait and see." He was getting sick of dealing with children. "He's right, isn't he?" Sakura asked. Kakashi didn't respond. "Sai is smart. I'm surprised Sasuke didn't put it together himself. He kept on walking. If I am correct, Sasuke will hunt down Naruto and bring him back to the village." Kakashi chuckled. "That would be a funny sight." "What are you laughing at?" Sasuke muttered, folding his arms across his chest. The Raven was annoyed. He was always annoyed. "Nothing." Tsunade stared at her paperwork as if it itself had killed Naruto. She wanted to light it on fire and watch it burn. She wanted to cut it into tiny little pieces and feed it to her slug. She had been waiting days for Kakashi and his team to return. He had information on the demonic flash, and she had to know why it was so important that she had to send out a replacement team for him. If it wasn't the answer she wanted, she would kill him. She laid her head down on the desk for a few seconds, trying to catch with her thoughts. She closed her eyes, but they didn't stay shut for long. She heard footsteps on the other side of the door. The voices got louder and louder to the point that they were hurting her ears. "They are back," she thought. Who got his panties in a twist? Sasuke was never this loud before, well, since the blonde knucklehead ninja. Tsunade glared at the door. The door flew open to reveal Kakashi, Sasuke, Sai, and Sakura. Sai was watching Kakashi with an insane look, while Sasuke was yelling at Kakashi. Sakura was trying to get some words in. However, she could never find a spot to jump in. Kakashi, who pushed past them, was annoyed to all hell. He even had a slight look of pain in his eyes. It was like he was calling for help. However, he wasn't the kind of person to call for help. Shut up! Tsunade blustered at the top of her voice. She stood from her spot behind the desk. Kakashi, why did you request to come back to the village? Kakashi stepped away from his team and pulled out a summary of the mission. I will explain everything to you alone, he told her as he glanced back to his team. Okay, Tsunade responded while sitting back down. Sasuke, Sai, and Sakura, can you three please leave us? No! Sasuke hollered, I want. She gave you an order, Kakashi interrupted. Sasuke growled, but he knew he couldn't go against the Hokage's order. Naruto would look down upon him if he did. Sasuke left the room with no more protests. Sakura watched him leave and glanced back to Tsunade before taking off. Sai just disappeared without any notice. I know the identity of the demonic flash. Tsunade stared at him. The room was soundproof. It had so many jutsus on it, it wasn't even funny. She looked over the summary of the mission, but there wasn't anything abnormal about it. I don't see anything in this report. I wasn't going to put his identity in there. I didn't want it to be that easy for the enemy or Sasuke to find out, Kakashi said. What do you mean? Why don't you want him to know? She asked. She took a quiet look over the report. I know he has a temper, but he has grown since Naruto died, she commented. She hated that Uchiha with every inch of her life. He took away her brother, and she would never forgive him. However, this past year, she tried to cut him a break. She was finally able to notice the subtle changes in the man. He had grown up, or rather he was forced to grow up. I would have agreed with you before, but after I saw how the demonic flash defeated him, I can't agree with you. Demonic flash played with him, Kakashi reported. There is a chance Sasuke wouldn't even recognize the assassin's name, said Tsunade, picking up the report again. Can't believe how easily he lost. He would on this one. Explain. I know for a fact that these two know each other, he revealed. He looked around just to make sure No was around to hear. Where is Jiraiya? Kakashi asked. I don't know. I told him you wanted to talk to both of us, but he had something better to do, she growled, while she threw her hands up. Don't change the subject. Now who is the demonic assassin? You won't believe it. Tell me. Just hear me out before you dismiss it. Tell me. You will think it is insane, Kakashi sweated. Bringing up Naruto was a death sentence, when talking to Tsunade. If anyone brought up Naruto, even now, she would flip out. Would she believe Kakashi that Naruto is alive? Tell me, damn it! Tsunade hollered. Her patience was drawing thin. She was too old to deal with stuff like this. The demonic flash is Naruto Uzumaki, he choked out. Sakura stared out a window, while she thought of Naruto. She regretted all the stuff she did to that boy. She hit and called him names. She was horrible to him, and that kills her. How could she be that horrible to him? She was in love with Sasuke, but it wasn't love. It was stupid and she knew it. She did everything she could think of to get noticed by Sasuke. As a result, she was blinded to what was right next to her. Naruto may have been loud and annoying, but he was that way because he cared. Sasuke, on the other hand, only cared about one thing, killing his older brother. He didn't care about who got hurt in the process, and Sakura was well aware of it, but she thought she could change it. She was wrong. It wasn't right, and now, she had lost the only boy who ever cared for her with all his heart. She sat in a small tea stand outlooking the center of town. Laughter filled the area. It was a nice sight. No, wait, it was a wonderful sight. A wonderful sight indeed. Too bad, Sakura was dead inside to care. Sakura closed her eyes and took in a deep breath. She glanced at her reflection in the window. Come on, Sakura. You are an Umba Black Ops. You shouldn't be weak like this because of a memory. Her nails dug into her skin almost to the point of blood. He is dead. Get over him. She slowly opened her eyes. A single tear ran down her cheek. Forehead, what are you doing? Sakura turned around to see her best friend. Ino, what do you want? What? Ino stared at her. I just wanted to know if the rumors are true, Ino answered, taking a seat. Her blonde hair was up in a high ponytail, but it was still past her butt. She was thin just as always. It was strange how thin she was. What rumors are those? Sakura hissed, while she rested her head on her hands. Ino stared at Sakura. She doesn't usually act like this. What's wrong? Sakura looked at her from the corner of her ember eyes. Thinking of him, she whispered, hoping Ino wouldn't hear. Ino let out a breath. We all miss him, too. I know it hurts, but it's been 10 years. You have to let her go, she paused. Sakura had returned her glance to the window. Ino knew how Sakura felt, and she hated herself too, but she was able to live with herself. So are the rumors true? Ino decided to change the subject. What rumors? she repeated. Did Sasuke get his ass kicked by the demonic flash? And does Kakashi know the identity of the demonic flash? Sakura picked up her head. Yes, he got his ass kicked. Her eyes widened at the sight of Ino's smile. Sure, she knew that no one liked Sasuke after Naruto died, but she never expected Ino to be this happy after 10 years. And Kakashi says he knows, but he isn't telling. Ino's smile faded. Well, that is to be expected from Kakashi. He hardly talks about anything. Even after 10 years, we still don't know a lot from him. Sakura nodded. This is true. All I know is that he is the only one left of his genin team. Other than that, nothing. There were a few moments of silence. I wonder who the demonic flash is, Ino commented. Me too, Sakura joined in. All I know is that he is son of the Yondaime Hokage. Sakura paused as she caught a sight of Ino's face. Well, that is what the assassin said. However, Kakashi did confirm it. What? Ino jumped up and her hands covered her mouth. Sakura ordered. Be quiet. No one is supposed to know until the Hokage gives the order. Sakura pulled Ino back down into the chair. You got it? Yeah, I got it, Ino waved. Good, Sakura nodded. Now we wait and see. Will we find out the true identity of the demonic flash? Ino nodded before thinking of something. Yellow flash. Demonic flash, she muttered to herself. What? They are similar. I wonder why no has caught on to it before, Ino commented on. Sakura's eyes widened. I never noticed. Tsunade froze for a second, trying to figure out if Kakashi was joking or not. If anyone was to joke about Naruto with her, it would be Kakashi. However, Kakashi looked dead serious. Kakashi, I don't like your sense of humor, she hissed. I am not joking, Kakashi reassured her. There are so many things that add up. He recalled the facts in his head. We never found his body, demonic flash never attacks Konoha ninjas, he called himself the son of the Yondaime Hokage, and he used the Hiraishin Jutsu. Naruto didn't know he was the son of Minato, nor could anyone have taught him that, she argued. But who else could use that? Her mind was spinning and nothing made sense to her. If Naruto was alive, he would have came back, she cried. Heavy tears started to fly down her cheek. He loved the village. Things changed. People change. Look at what happened to him all his life, and when his best friend turned on him, it was the last straw. He couldn't take it anymore, Kakashi tried to explain. And besides, Naruto is the only child of Minato Namikaze. Only a blood relative can use the Hiraishin Jutsu. Tsunade rested her head against the desk, and her arms covered her head. Naruto, can it be true? Are you alive? Tears soaked the wooden desk. True, the word was muffled. Kakashi was barely able to hear it. Plus, the assassin knows too much about us and the village, Kakashi reasoned. He folded his arms against his chest as Tsunade looked up from the desk. So, he shouldn't know these things if he wasn't him, Kakashi tried to explain. Look, enough! She hollered. Her temper was ready to burst. It may have been 10 years since his death, but I am not over it. I can't take this. Kakashi moved closer to the Godame. I know. If I am wrong, it will open up old wounds and make it harder for you. But I don't believe I am wrong. Then don't be wrong, she begged him. Her hair fell around her face, hiding her eyes. Or I will kill you. Sasuke was once again at the memorial stone, staring at Naruto's name. He had just finished telling Naruto what happened on his last mission. Briefing Naruto on his missions had become a ritual, since he had come back to the village. Naruto had lived for missions and Sasuke felt it was the least he could do for his fallen team member. He told his teammate everything about the demonic flash, hoping he would see something he missed that could lead him to the identity of the assassin. Sure, talking to a dead guy wouldn't help him, and surely, talking to the dobe wouldn't help either, but he had to talk to someone. Sasuke never talked to anyone about what he was going through. He kept to himself, never caring about anyone else. Besides, no one really cared about him. It was a known fact that no one, well besides the villagers, liked him in the village. He was okay with that. He liked being alone. It suited him just fine. The clouds slowly passed by the young man as the sun shone brightly through the cerulean sky. The wind lightly blew through the trees. It was a nice clear day. It was filled with memories of Naruto. Naruto was innocent like this day. Sasuke sighed. He hated days like this. It hurt him too much. Naruto would have liked this day, he thought to himself. The Uchiha pushed himself up from the ground and stared at the stone for a few more seconds before turning away. Each step shot pain through his heart. He hated to leave, but he couldn't stay. It pained him either way. What is wrong, Uchiha? Sasuke twisted around to see the replacement. What do you want, Sai? Said boy smiled a cheesy smile and responded, to see what you are doing. Sai sat in a high branch of a sakura tree. He had his oil paints and brushes out. His eyes were focused on his drawing pad. It is none of your business, Sasuke hissed. I never liked this guy. He pushed up his sleeves a little bit as to get ready to fight. The sun was still bright overhead. However, the wind was starting to pick up. What a bad temper, Sai chuckled. He never looked up from his drawing. His hand was almost invisible at points. Sasuke muttered, shooting Sai a famous Uchiha glare. That is no way to talk to your teammate. Sasuke started to walk away. I don't have teammates, he revealed. Kakashi stared at the Godame Hokage, who was in pieces on her desk. Does that mean what I think that means? Kakashi asked. She nodded her head. Your new mission is to bring the demonic flash back to Konoha alive, Tsunade ordered, while she wiped her tears. She started to do paperwork. How many people do you want for this? Kakashi was in shock. He never thought she would let him go, but then again, when it came to Naruto, she would do anything. He just hoped he was right. If he was wrong, it would kill Tsunade all over again, and he was sure that she would kill him in turn. Sakura and Sasuke for sure, he answered. She sat up in her chair. She began to get herself in check. Are you sure? Hi, they were his teammates, and they know each other the best. But according to you, the assassin had easily overpowered them, she remembered. She picked off the summary of the last mission. I know, but Sakura and Sasuke are probably the only two who would be able to get to him, if he is Naruto, he said, with difficulty. Maybe, but it seems like he despises the Uchiha now. She paused, and the rest of the village. She folded her arms across her chest. He has been hurt by his closest friend. What do you expect him to do? That. But he has other friends. True, but he looked up to Sasuke in a way. He saw Sasuke as a brother. Tsunade let out a sigh. Okay, but who else do you want to bring? She asked, taking out a list of ninjas still in the village. Do you want Sai? No, he only made the situation worse. And if the demonic flash is Naruto, we need people he knows. People he saw as friends. Oh right, but who do you want? Niji Hyuga. Kakashi read off the list. He will be good. The Sharingan was useless against the demonic flash. I hope that Niji will even up the score. I see just 4? She inquired as she looked out the window. She couldn't hide the fear in her eyes. If the demonic flash wasn't Naruto, she would have to face his death again as if he died again. Hi, more than 4 would only be a handful and more work than it's worth, Kakashi admitted. When do you want to leave? Tomorrow, any later, and we will lose his trail. You leave tomorrow at noon, understood? Hi. The sun was setting in the distance as it started to rain. It sounded like the gods were crying out. The wind pounded against the building with great force. Thunder began to fly through the air and lightning brightened up the sky. Naruto sat by the window of the hotel room, while Minato laid asleep in the bed. Minato could sleep through anything. On the contrary, Naruto had a hard time sleeping on nights like this. He never felt safe during nights like this. 1. Someone would sneak up on him, and he would never know. It was the prefect cover. 2. He never liked thunder and lightning. In fact, he was afraid of them, but he would never admit to it. He was the master at hiding his emotions after all these years. He had this fear all his life, but what would you expect? He grew up alone with no one to tell him it was okay. That he was safe. That nothing was wrong. He was a small boy without a safety net. He didn't know that it wouldn't hurt him. He knew now that he was safe, but he still couldn't sleep. It brought back painful memories. The past, he wanted to forget. The past, he wanted nothing to do with. It only brought him pain. Naruto watched the storm. Sweat began to fall down his face and hit the ground. The rain just started to fall. He straightened up in the chair. Get a hold of yourself. The thunder boomed in the distance. It sounded like it was getting closer. The boy, around 15, curled up at the base of a tree. Naruto shook his head, trying to get this memory out of his head, but its hold grew stronger on him. Sleep was coming upon him, and the memory attacked. Lightning blinded the teen as he buried his head in his knees. He wasn't crying, and he would yell if anyone accused him of crying. His blonde hair was soaked from the rain, and his cerulean eyes held a dangerous look. His black clothes weighed him down, and mud caked him down. Naruto. The boy didn't move. Naruto! What are you doing? The voice hissed. The boy picked up his head and stared at the figure in front of him. Nothing, he whispered. He didn't want the man to think he was a baby. Not him of all people. Naruto, get up! Itachi, Naruto's voice drifted off. You what? Itachi asked, but his voice wasn't too inviting. He walked closer to Naruto. When he was reached the teen, he grabbed the boy. You what? He repeated as Naruto didn't responded. Naruto tried to pull his arm away but he failed. I don't like lightning, he cried. Itachi felt himself growl. Stop being a baby. I am not a baby, then don't act like it. Itachi dropped the boy and folded his arms against his chest. I do not train babies. He turned his back on Naruto. Naruto looked up to Itachi. What are you saying? The teen stood up. You are still going to train me, right? Itachi stared at the boy. Please, he gave him his best puppy dog look. Naruto's mood changed fast, but that happens when he was around Itachi. Itachi hated the teen's puppy dog face. Naruto could get him to do a lot of things those days with those eyes, and it disgusted Itachi. He turned into a stuffed bear. He looked scary, but he wasn't. If you can stay the night out here, Naruto froze. Sure, he choked out. Okay, see you tomorrow, Itachi smirked. The blonde nodded his head. I hope I can do this, he thought. However, he wasn't too worried. Itachi would teach him, even if he run away like a baby. He knew Itachi would, and he knew Itachi knew he knew it made sense. Well, it made sense to Naruto. Itachi turned his back on the blonde and started to walk away. Let's see how brave you really are, he dared. I can do it. Dadabayo, Itachi hid his laugher. You better, he hissed, trying his softness. Itachi disappeared, leaving Naruto alone once again in a storm. The teen walked back to the tree. He flinched with every wave of the storm like it was coming after him to kill him. It is not going to hurt me, he repeated to himself every few seconds. He never got over it, the night that changed his life. He was only 5, he was trapped outside in a storm. Naruto couldn't remember much about that day, but the storm haunted him. The teen curled up again against the tree. The storm started to get worse. He was soon blinded, sweat ran down his face and soaked his clothes all the way through. He flicked his eyes open for a few seconds. Naruto picked himself up right and glanced out the window. The storm seemed to be letting up, which was probably the reason why he was released from the memory, before it was over. That made Naruto happy in some sense. He didn't want to remember the rest of the dream, especially not that one. Naruto made his way over to bed and ran his fingers through Minato's golden hair. Everything will be okay, son. I will make sure of it, Naruto promised his son. 2 memories in one day. That is rare. This one was of Itachi's stupid Uchiha. How could you be that stupid to kill your brother? Naruto watched his son sleep. He would protect Minato with his life. It was one of those days where nothing mattered. That the world would end and he wouldn't give a damn. He might be even wishing for it. The world sucked that bad, and there was no reason to say otherwise. In fact, there was times he wished he could it right there and then. That at least would put an end to his suffering, his hatred, his depression, his soulless existence, his uselessness, his abuse, etc. The list could go on forever, and indeed he believed every single thing on the list. It didn't matter that it was a good day, that the sun was shining, that life was present in the air, that the birds were singing, that the people's voice brought only good news to his ear. None of that stuff mattered. In fact, it just made it worse. He would never be that happy in his life. It wasn't like he didn't have anything in his life. He did have special things in his life, however, he had so much more before. He just lost it, and with it, he has lost his very light, which had served him and protected him from the darkness that was threatening to eat him alive. It was a very scary thing to face at this time of his life. The blackness of his future drowned him. He had no idea where he was heading or what he wanted in his life for himself. He knew what he wanted for the rest of the world, but everything in his life was a mystery to him. A secret he even keeps from himself, but yet he knew the key to his life's secret. It all makes sense on some level. The papers on her desk never looked as evil as they did right then. They needed to be finished, but she lost all interest in reading and signing them. It was her job to look over the village and make sure everything ran smoothly, but ever since she heard about the identity of the demonic Flash, everything else just seemed unimportant. Nothing mattered more than proving it was true. She needed it to be true no matter what it brought about. It could bring about the end of the world. She didn't care. She just needed him in her life more, and she would do anything she could to get him. She was the Hokage and she made an oath to the village, but yet she would turn her back on it in a heartbeat if it meant getting him back. It didn't matter that he left the village. It didn't matter that he let them believe he was dead. It didn't matter he left many broken hearts. She would do anything to get him back. He was like a brother to her. He was her brother. She didn't care about blood. In her eyes, he was family. The only family she had left. Tears had strained the paperwork on her desk. Well, they will just have to take them how they are, tear strains and all. Tears never physically hurt anyone. Emotionally, on the hand, is a completely different story. Tears were the windows to the soul. There was no hiding tears. Her fist grabbed the nearest thing to her and crushed it. The item did not stand a chance against her strength. Please come back to me. Please, I will do anything. She cried painfully. Sakura took in a deep breath, trying to get her nerves down. She knew they were going after the demonic Flash, but other than that, it was a mystery. She didn't understand why they would be going after the deadly assassin. They don't stand a chance against him, even with Niji. The S-class assassin made them look like idiots with no effort at all. How can they stand a chance against that? Sakura's eyes never really looked anywhere but forward. She was in her own mind. Niji, Sasuke, and Kakashi never appeared in her mind even though they surrounded her. It was like they were unimportant at that place and time. However, there really wasn't much on her mind. In fact, her mind was blank. It was so blank that it was surprising that she knew her name as well as everyone else's names. Haha, the guy's movements didn't change too rapidly, so there was no need for her to be very active in this stage of the hunt. She could be asleep in this stage, and it wouldn't really matter. But then again, they wouldn't want to drag the dead weight along with them. Sasuke is bugging Kakashi again, the kunoichi thought spiteful, when she was brought back to reality with a misstep. She narrowed her eyes as she spoke. Shut up, I really don't want to hear you whining. Kakashi, who was expecting that, never looked back. Niji, who was used to the sudden outbursts already, didn't even care to acknowledge them. However, Sasuke turned his head and glared ever so dangerous at her. "I do not whine," he sneered. "I just want to know who the hell this guy is. Kakashi knows but won't tell." "I don't care. Just shut up," she yelled, not paying attention to the fact she was dying to know as well. Sasuke growled and the two went at it. Kakashi cleared his throat. "I did not sign up for babysitting. So stop it or go back to the village," he ordered. He was not in the mood to deal with children. The two idiots shut up without another word from Kakashi. A smile appeared on his face that had vanished over 10 years ago. Well, it wasn't the same smile, but it was really close. Watching his son always did this to him. It brought him back to his childhood. He may have been hated by the village, but he couldn't deny that he had his share of fun. That, however, didn't mean he wanted to go back to that hellhole. The bad outweighed the good every time he looked at it. He couldn't change that, nor did he care to. What he did care about was taking care of his innocent child. Minato, who wore a smile as big as his face, was a few feet away from his father as he played with the other children of the village. His laughter was heard miles away. It was a beautiful sound. Naruto could fall asleep and dream just by listening to the young boy. It, however, wasn't very smart to fall asleep to Minato's laughter. He had to watch the boy. Consequently, whenever Minato was up, Naruto was as well. So in the end, the blonde assassin did not dream. It was a horrible feeling not to be allowed to dream. The older blonde could be found way up in the tree looking down upon his innocent son. Naruto was watching him like his hawk and Minato felt his father's eyes on him. The village wasn't too big, but it wasn't tiny either. It was a nice, safe village, where everyone knows everyone in some small detail. When anyone new came along, everyone knew it, and being the new guy in town wasn't the best, when you were on the run. Naruto was just lucky he knew the chief personally. He saved his life a few years back, so the new guy aura he had just washed away. It all made sense in some way. Naruto left his son in the capable hands of one of the Toad brothers and a villager, who he believed he could trust to watch Minato. The villager also had a son around Minato's age, so Naruto felt somewhat comfortable leaving his son. Worse come to worse, he could be there in a blink of an eye. The demonic Flash made his way through the woods. Sure, he had an assassination that he had to do, but that wasn't on the top of his mind. He had to draw the search team, which he was sure was after him, away from where his son was. He didn't want the village or anyone else to find out about his son. He didn't want anyone to find out that the demonic Flash had a son, a weakness. He could see it, a manhunt after his son just to get to him. He couldn't be a very happy camper if that happened. Massive deaths would be on the plate if that were to happen. His black cloak blew all around him, when he ran through the trees as fast as he could. Using his Hiraishin jutsu wouldn't do much good. That jutsu wasn't very helpful when you wanted people to track you. So yeah, he couldn't be lazy and he loved to be lazy. Haha. Haha. Soon, he was miles upon miles away from the friendly village. It didn't take him long before he felt some unfamiliar chakras, which wasn't uncommon. He was used to them, however, this time it made his jump. He didn't know why it made his jump. Maybe it was because he knew his secret was out, or maybe it was because he knew that ninjas were coming after him. It wasn't that he was scared. It was just that he knew who was coming after him. It didn't take too long before the unfamiliar chakras passed out of his senses. However, he wasn't alone for long. Soon, he sensed more ninjas coming his way fast. Incidentally, these ninjas were familiar, very familiar. He had sensed their chakras before, and it didn't take long before he realized who they were. Shit, I didn't want to run into them here, he thought and cursed. He stopped in his tracks and turned in the direction of the incoming Konoha shinobi. He had to choose. He could wait till they found his trail, or he could just face them and deal with them there. He chose the later. He would deal with them now. Maybe that will solve something. Kakashi had an knack to tuning out people. He had many years of practice, which started when he was a child. His genin teammates could rival Team 7 in loudness. He had gone through many yelling matches, not acting in all of them, to learn how to let them slide. People tend to shut their mouths when no one was paying any attention to them. It may took a few seconds or longer, but it worked out. This, however, didn't work out when there was more than one person fighting and they were on different sides. This was the case this time. Sasuke and Sakura were like two screaming children. In their eye, they were right and the other person was a baka. There was no telling them otherwise. It was hard to tell who would kill them first, Neji or Kakashi. Sure, they could keep their cool and block them out, but a person could only take so much. Neji and Kakashi were at their breaking point. Sasuke and Sakura were at it for hours with no breaks for long. They had been tracking the assassin for a few days now. Ears were bleeding. Kakashi focused all this attention to his tracking dogs, who were having a hard time finding the demonic Flash. No one ever tried to track this highly dangerous rogue ninja before. No one knew exactly how. The question was how he was contacted for his jobs in the first place. No one really knew. Maybe he found them? The search wasn't going too well, since no one, who they came across, knew anything about the assassin. However, they wouldn't talk even if they knew anything about the S-class assassin. There were many reasons for that. So Kakashi, how do you deal with these two on a daily basis? Niji asked. By pretending they don't exist, he answered. It wasn't that he didn't care for them. In fact, he cared very deeply for the two. He just couldn't handle them when they were together. In addition to that, they were all hype up due to the situation, each wanting to know about the demonic flash. Harsh, Niji said, smirking. A few hours passed by, before Niji noticed something, causing him to stop dead in his tracks, which in turn caused the rest of the team to stop. Niji just looked around through the foliage, which silenced everyone. What do you sense? Kakashi asked as he studies the area around the team. A chakra is coming our way. Telling from the chakra, he is an highly skilled ninja, Niji explained as he pinpointed the person. Can you tell who it is? Sakura asked. She glared over to Sasuke before pushing her hair behind her ear. I bet he can't, Sasuke snarled. He was having a bad day, but then again, when wasn't he having a bad day? He was always in a horrible mood. Plus, he believed he was best at everything, which was a bad combination. Just shut it, you two. I had enough, Kakashi ordered. He was ready to show them how much. He would have hurt them by now if he didn't need them for the mission. Life. Well, can you? No, but I have felt this chakra before. I can't place where I know it, but I know I felt it before, Niji responded, while he focused more on the familiar chakra. Kakashi stood still and faced the familiar distance chakra. His body was frozen paresi. He knew who Niji had come across. There was no other explanation to who it was. It had to be the demonic flash. It had to be Naruto. Let's head that way, Kakashi ordered immediately. Why is that? Sakura asked, glancing in that direction. She had no special eyes or blood trait. She was left out. Let's face it, she was only useful with planning and healing. She had no real gift for spotting things out. She felt useless, and it was a horrible feeling. I have a feeling that the demonic flash is that way, Kakashi announced, which caused a lot of mouths to drop. Then let's go, Sasuke growled. His hands quickly turned into fists. He was going to have his rematch. In his mind, the S-class assassin was going to lose. There was no stopping it. Go where? A voice called out when the team was about to leave. Sasuke, Sakura, Niji, and Kakashi all looked around trying to figure where that voice came from. It was understood that it didn't came back from anyone on the team. Looking for the demonic flash? The voice called out again. This unfamiliar voice wasn't very threatening. It was as if the owner was trying to have a normal conversation with the group. Yes? Sakura answered with a hint of unsureness. The other members of the team has no interest of talking back. They instead formed a box with their backs facing each other so they won't be surprised. You won't find him in that direction. He made his mind up he would, but now he was questioning it. He didn't have much time to make up his mind or change his mind. It was now or never. Either he can let the familiar chakras past him, or he could fight them head on. Why not just get this over with? Naruto thought as he changed his direction. He pushed back whatever he was feeling, which was unknown to even him, and hurried his way to the Konoha shinobi. All shapes around him disappeared and only colors existed as his mind focused on the path ahead of him. All noise seemed to disappear as he came closer to the ninjas. It was only a few minutes before he heard, "Then let's go." Naruto glanced down to find Sasuke, Sakura, Kakashi, and Niji, and he felt himself groaned. He hated dealing with that Uchiha even now. Sure, it was funnier to deal with the stupid Uchiha now, since he knew how to push his buttons properly. He didn't, however, expect the Uchiha to be as whiny as he was. That was a bit unusual, but he could deal. The demonic flash found a nice spot in a tree and sat down. His eyes never left the four shinobi. Go where? He asked in a regular voice. There was no real reason to mask his voice. Kakashi knew his identity anyways. His voice proved too much for a response from Wimble's search team. Looking for the demonic flash? Yes? Came Sakura's response. Naruto almost snorted at her response. Haha, I should have expected that much. He folded his arm against his chest. She seems just as weak as she did all those years ago. He felt glad that he didn't have to deal with these people all the time like he used to. That would be too stressful. You won't find him in that direction. Their square defense wouldn't help them too much with all the abilities that he had and they didn't know about. He had this battle on his side even though he was unnumbered. His Hiraishin Jutsu was his key to dealing with uneven numbers. Why is that? Niji asked, while turning his eyes on the location of the unknown voice, which he found with no hardship. Naruto wasn't trying to hide. He wanted to be found. It was a part of his master plan. He isn't there anymore. Are you his keeper or something? Sasuke snarled. People who think they knew it all pissed him the hell off. Too bad he was one of people. Haha, yes. His answer was strong and powerful. There was no hint of any thought. Bit strange, Kakashi thought out loud. What gives you that power? Naruto stood slowly from his high spot in the tree. Why wouldn't I have power over myself? No one tells me what to do. He paused, thinking of Minato and all of his demands. I am my own keeper. That means, Sakura gasped. Yes. The demonic flash jumped down, landing in a kneed position. His eyes were focused on Hataki. No one else was important in that moment. I am the demonic Flash. He picked himself, and with a wave of an arm, he pushed his body clear of the cloak. His muscular lean frame was revealed, but his face was still covered. Kakashi immediately grabbed the inflamed Sasuke and held him back with help from Sakura. It wasn't a smart idea to disobey her or piss her off, which was something Sasuke did regularly. We have been ordered by the Godame Hokage to bring you back to Konoha, Kakashi exclaimed with a strong, stable voice. Why would she order that, Hataki? Naruto asked. He once again folded his arm against his chest. He was willing to hear him out somewhat, but he had no intention of going with them. His body stance told them all that. You know very well why, Kakashi answered. I don't believe you are going to talk the demonic Flash into turning himself in, Neji commented with his nasty tone. He heard a lot about this assassin, and he didn't like what he heard. There was no talking with this guy. I agree with the Hyuga, Sasuke added in, while he tried to loosen Sakura's hand, which wasn't turning out too well. She would just grab on tighter with her super strength. Just let me at him. No, and Sakura down. Let him go, Kakashi answered. Sakura nodded. If I can't talk him into coming with us willing, then you two hotheads can fight him. Fine, Sasuke snapped. Do what you want, but I will beat his ass. Naruto chuckled as he remembered the last battle, but he didn't say anything, which ensured a famous Uchiha glare from the Uchiha. Neji, on the other hand, just smirked. Something told him that Sasuke didn't stand a chance against the S-class assassin. Sure, Sasuke was considered a S-class shinobi, but he was in no way in the same field as the rogue ninja in front of them. You only have two choices. 1, come back willingly, or 2, coming back as a prisoner. If you came back willingly, you would get off easier, Kakashi explained, while he inched forward. A snort was Naruto's reply. You know very well, if the council found out about me, they would welcome me back with open arms. The son of the Yellow Flash would be welcome addition. Just look to what happened when the Uchiha came back to the village, he said, glancing over Sasuke, who glared. He paused for a few seconds. In addition to that, the Hokage likes me better than the traitor Uchiha. The demonic Flash leaned back and rested against the oak tree. He was getting rather comfortable, which showed how unaffected he was by the numbers. Not a worry in his whole body. Sasuke didn't say anything to defend himself, since he considered himself to be traitor himself. Sakura wasn't going to stay quiet. What makes you so sure Tsunade likes you? She hissed. What a temper. Naruto paused. So I guess you didn't tell them who I am. No, I wanted to make sure you were really him before announcing it to the world. Kakashi glanced back, catching confused looks from the rest of the team. Do you think I am really him? All the clues fix, and what you are saying now makes me believe you are him. I could always be playing you idiots, he chuckled. He disappeared, causing a lot of yelling and confusion. The demonic Flash was fast and no one could deny that, when he reappeared behind Sakura. Without a second thought he placed a kunia to her neck, drawing blood. And it would be so easy. Just look how easy it was getting past you. Sasuke and Neji jumped back and got ready for the attack. They were no longer in any more mood to talk, not saying they were in the first place. The demonic Flash had their medical ninja. Kakashi just stared at his former student and marveled at how much he had grown and changed. The old Naruto would never do this. The person in front of him wasn't the same innocent boy he trained. He turned cold. Sakura's hands reached for the assassin's arm. Consequently, he saw her moment and pinned her arms before her back. Her super strength was now useless to her. Let me go! She hollered. Still as loud as ever, Naruto commented. He had a look of disgust on his face, which no one was able to see, but they did hear the disgust in his voice. I am not loud, came her response, which caused a lot of eyes to roll. Just let her go, Kakashi calmly stated, standing a couple yards from Sakura. You know as much as you don't want to do this. If you wanted to make Konoha your enemy, you would have attacked it a long time ago, he said. True, Naruto agreed. Hurting this Kunoichi would do him no good. It would only cause more damage than good. He shoved Sakura into Kakashi's arms and disappeared, but that didn't mean he still wasn't around. The group looked around trying to find the hidden enemy, who they knew were still there. Unlike last time, they could not pinpoint his location. They just felt his amazing chakra. They would hear him somewhat, but when they turned to look he was gone. Then in a split second, Naruto appeared next to one of the shinobi and gave him a bone-crushing blow to the face, which sent Sasuke flying into the nearest tree. The injured Sasuke slowly pushed himself off the ground, which caused Sakura to run to him to heal him. He didn't even acknowledge the medical ninja as she healed him. But where is the fun in that? Naruto grinned, while he took a resting place against the base of the tree. I am going to hurt you, Sasuke growled as he pushed Sakura away. He stood up and started to make his way to the rogue ninja before Sakura pulled him back, which in turn she received in glare. I'd like to see you try. Naruto rested his hands behind his head. Sure, he sensed a ton of killing intent from the Uchiha, but he had nothing to worry about. He was like a snake with no fangs. All hiss and no bit. So Hataki, how are you going to talk me into coming back to that village? He asked curious, wanting to know himself. I don't think you can talk him into coming into the village, Niji commented. His face showed how annoyed he was. Besides, why are you trying to talk him into coming back to the village? He is a S-class assassin. Normally, they wouldn't try to talk a rogue ninja in coming back. But as I said before, I am the son of the Yondaime Hokage, who wouldn't want that. Yeah, but you are a merciless killer, Sakura accused. Naruto felt somewhat annoyed. If they only knew. Toya is nowhere innocent. Shows so little you know, he hissed. His tone shocked the four shinobi, who never hear it before. The demonic Flash was always known to be calm and collective, but his tone told a different story. Maybe you should take a closer look at that noble your village is trying to protect. Everyone noticed his change in tone. Now wasn't the best time to test how far he would go, but Kakashi wasn't going to waste this opportunity. That isn't important. Then what is? Niji asked. It seems he doesn't see himself as a bad guy. Not at all, Naruto chipped in, while taking a peek at the inflaming Uchiha. But let's not talk about. Let's talk about the horrible village you want to take me back to. I know that village treated you like crap, but things are different now, Kakashi tried to explain. Naruto felt his blood boil. Why? Because of my bloodline? He pushed himself into a standing position. Naruto wasn't the one to stand still when he was angry. I don't want to be liked only because my father was the Yellow Flash. He was an abused child, and the village being nice to him wasn't going to change that. The lies, the abuse, the looks, why would I want to go back to that? That is only one part of it, Kakashi tried to reason. He moved closer to Naruto, but he didn't step blindly. He had a kunai in his hand ready to block any attack from the S-class rogue ninja. You had friends there. You know who I am, so who else knows who I am? Naruto asked curious. Just me and Tsunade. Naruto just glanced to the three shinobi whose eyes never left him. So they don't have a clue to who I am. He took a deep breath. So what are you waiting for? Wanted to make sure? Are you sure? I am now, but you can't be sure till I am unmasked. Naruto moved out of the shadows of the oak tree. I don't feel like being unmasked. That would make life so much harder. Too late now. Kakashi knew after he revealed Naruto's identity to the rest of the world, everything would be as insane could be. Maybe, but you don't know all my secrets. Naruto paused. You just know my identity, nothing too big. Besides, I doubt the village would want to release who I am, the son of the Yondaime Hokage, a rogue ninja. That would cause a stir. Only a few key officials will know about you, Kakashi agreed. Just tell us who he is already. Sasuke and Sakura both hollered at the same time. They each gave the other a glare. They started to argue again. Just reveal it already so the two idiots would shut up, Niji snapped, while he folded his arms against his chest. Naruto looked to Kakashi. He had no interest in revealing himself even though he knew he was going to be revealed no matter what. It is one of those times that I wish I had some sake on me. He reached for his blood-red katana with the engraving of the word demon on the sword. This won't end well, he thought, glancing at the Uchiha. Eyes fell to the legendary sword, which had been bathed in the cold blood of man. Sure, they saw the sword once before, but they never saw the word demon marked on it. The word shined against the red metal that it was engraved in. It brought fear to anyone who ever laid eyes on it. Only Toya and his servants, and plus the search team, ever saw the sword and lived, but only the ninjas have noticed the word demon. Kakashi was the only who knew about the sword referring to the demon sealed into side of Naruto. The team was silenced by the sword, leaving them to wonder what the demonic Flash was hiding with his identity. Kakashi stepped back from Naruto, not wanting to be in the sword's reach when he announced it. He doubted that would help with Naruto's great speed. Why don't you put his sword away, Naruto? Kakashi requested. Tsunade faced the window, outlooking the entire village. She hadn't drank anything since the one night she got wasted. She didn't want to have a hangout when the news came about the demonic Flash. She was on the edge of her seat waiting for it. Would she be seeing Naruto again? She didn't notice the door open to her office until Jiraiya shut it loudly. She turned around to face the old man. He was multicolored, which she suspected he got from peeping. Jiraiya, you are unbelievable, she exclaimed. Don't get started on my hobbies, when you drink yourself to unconsciousness. The Toad Sage wasn't in a very good mood. He just got into a fight with his toads, when he questioned their decision. What was it that Kakashi wanted to talk to me about? Tsunade glared at him. She threw him the mission log that Kakashi handed in. He believes he knows the identity of the demonic Flash. Jiraiya stared at the log wide eyes. It was unbelievable. He spent months trying to figure out who the assassin was, and Kakashi figured it out with just one encounter with him. Who is he? Just when Tsunade opened her mouth, one of Kakashi's tracking dogs was at the open window. The identity of the demonic Flash has been confirmed, the dog informed them. Tsunade felt her whole body move. A tear fall down her cheek. Jiraiya stared at the dog before looking at the Hokage. It'd been over 10 years since he'd seen that smile on her face. What am I missing? He asked clueless. The beast turned its head to the Toad Sage and said, the demonic Flash is Naruto Uzumaki, or as he goes by now, Naruto Namikaze. He hated himself for everything that went wrong. He was the reason why nothing went right. He was the reason why everyone's life sucked. He made their life suck. He couldn't tell you how, but he believed it. He believed everyone would be better off without him. He couldn't see how much good he did. He was blind to it. It was like he wanted to see the bad in himself. He had the world to live for. He had so many good things in his life. Sure, life was hard sometimes, but that didn't mean it wasn't worth living. It may be hard to see that sometime. However, that didn't mean you shouldn't give up. Giving up was never the answer to anything. Hardships were what made life worth it. He believed that philosophy, which was why he still tried. Plus, he wasn't the type of guy to give up without a fight. He would fight to the very end. It was in his blood to fight, to stand up against the things that held him back. In this case, he held himself back. He was the person that he was up against. He just didn't really see it. Silence filled the air. The team from Konoha was speechless, not knowing what to say or even if it was true. Could it be true? Was Naruto really alive? Was he standing right in front of them? What could they say to that? There wasn't much that could be said. That isn't Naruto. Sasuke, who was beyond angry, yelled. There was no way in hell that the demonic Flash was his best friend/rival. Naruto wasn't the rogue ninja type. He was the exact opposite, and it pissed him off the hell off that they would defile his name. Naruto wouldn't what? Turn his back on his friends? Naruto snapped, while his hold on katana tightened. His anger was getting the best of him, which wasn't a good thing. Bad things happened when he got mad. He had to keep it in check. Yes, Sakura yelled. There was no way in hell this guy was the man she loved, but then again, how could she be sure? She never really knew Naruto. He was just some guy that got on her last nerve. Well, then tell that to Hatake, Naruto suggested, turning his attention to Kakashi, who seemed greatly taken back. He can't be Naruto, Sakura cried. Naruto was the nicest, kindest person I ever met. This guy is the very essence of evil. She was a bit overdramatic, but her point was clear. This bastard couldn't be Naruto. I have to agree, Neji said, scanning the assassin over. He is Naruto, Kakashi reassured, taking notice of Naruto's body language. It was very clear he was on the edge. He knew that Naruto was close to losing his temper. If that happened, there would be a good chance that he would kill one of them. At that point, there wouldn't be any coming back from that. Think about it. All that you learned. Remember the last battle. That doesn't mean that he is Naruto, Sasuke hissed. He may have been reinstated as shinobi after killing Naruto, but Naruto wasn't very important in the eyes of the village and the council, so killing him wouldn't be quite as bad as Naruto killing Sasuke. Then what does it mean? You know that he has information that only Naruto could have, Kakashi tried to explain. He knew Sasuke couldn't deny that. Sasuke was silent. He didn't know what to say to that. Kakashi was right, but it was impossible. Things didn't add up in his mind. Kakashi turned his attention to the masked assassin. You can prove who you are, Naruto. Just show them your face. Naruto glanced around. What if I don't want to prove it? I don't want them to believe it. There is no Databeo moment where, he stated. He knew the squad was too out of it for a battle. That relaxed him to a point that he put the red katana away. Sakura froze. Databeo, she uttered. Naruto narrowed his eyes at her. So, that is what Naruto used to say all the time, she revealed. It was a trademark word of his. I miss it dearly. She was true to her word. I am surprised you remember that, he replied, noticing the sadness in her eyes. It brought up a weird feeling in him. Does she really miss me? That was the last thing he expected out of her. He was floored. Kakashi could feel himself smile, noticing Naruto's reaction. It was a very, very good sign. It meant that there was some hope. Your reaction surprises me, Naruto. Naruto felt himself losing control of the situation fast. What could he do? He was in a corner. He knew when he losing. What could he say? Kakashi laughed. Just admit it, he suggested. We all know it's true. You have yet to deny it. Your reactions are clear. No, he can't be. Sasuke hollered, making a move. He disappeared and reappeared behind Naruto. He swung up his leg, however, Naruto easily dodged by flipping out of the way. He landed behind the squad, but his mega jump wasn't what surprised the squad. In some twist of fate, Naruto's hood fell off, revealing his gorgeous blonde hair and cerulean eyes, but the jaw jumper was his whisker-like marks on his cheeks. Was the Uchiha's response. The other two responses weren't too different from Sasuke. Kakashi, on the other hand, felt somewhat happy. There was no way in denying that he was in fact Naruto. He looked so much like his father that it isn't even funny. His old sensei flashed in his head. Looks like the cat is out of bag, Kakashi mocked. Fine, I am Naruto. Happy? The unmasked demonic Flash hissed. He folded his arms across his well-defined chest. He blew at the fallen hair in his face, but it just fell back into the place. It was a hopeless cause. Neji stared at the blonde in front of him. He wasn't using any jutsu to change his appearance. It was in fact Naruto. Naruto Uzumaki? He uttered. It was almost unbelievable. Naruto was supposed to be dead. Naruto narrowed his eyes. No, you just said you were. Sakura accused, jumping in before Naruto could say anything else. He couldn't say he was Naruto, and then take it back. It wasn't right. She needed it to be true. She needed the man she loved back. You don't understand, he snarled. I don't go by that name anymore. He shifted his weight. I am Naruto Namikaze. I took my father's name, he paused. You don't need to know why. You don't need to know anything, Naruto, Kakashi said in a warning tone. We have been ordered to bring you back to the village. You then will have to tell us everything. Please, we need you back, said Boy cocked his head. That is if you could. But as you know, that is impossible. The Uchiha is completely out of it besides the fact he is hurt, he pointed out. Sasuke wasn't in the condition to put up a fight. Plus, Haruno is in total shock. Just look at her. She is useless at this point. Well, she was always useless. Sakura glanced up to Naruto from the ground. He was right about her being useless at that point. She wished, though, she could hit him with that comment of his. He needed to be knocked outside his head. She wouldn't be able to lay a finger on him at that moment, and it wasn't because he could dodge. In addition, Hyuga doesn't seem too sure of the situation, and that isn't the best condition to fight in. He shrugged in a taunting way. Must I go on? No, Kakashi waved. He knew there was a long shot in getting him back, but he wasn't going to give up. They were going to bring Naruto back to the village in time. It may not be right then, but time would bring him back. In that case, he said, making hand signs. Hiraishin no Jutsu. In a flash of yellow, the demonic flash was gone and the battle was lost. Silence was a common factor. Jiraiya stared at the dog before looking to Tsunade. The look on his face told it all, having it all: shock, confusion, happiness, sadness, etc. He found it a lot to take in. Thank you. You may go, Tsunade told the dog, who disappeared in a pop of smoke. Tsunade turned her attention to the toad sage, who looked like he had been ran over. It is official. Naruto is alive, she announced with a certain hop in her voice. Memories, with and without Naruto, flashed in his head, which seemed to bring up many emotions. Many of those memories were painful. How can he be alive? Jiraiya felt the gravity of the situation. That is still a mystery, Tsunade said, her pain/happiness still very visible. I sent Kakashi after Naruto in hope of bringing him back. She glanced over the mission log. However, things don't look too good. Let's face facts. He didn't come back to the village. He is after Toya, who we are trying to protect. She looked like she was hit by a tree. Jiraiya walked to the window, taking in a deep breath of clear, cool air. We can't jump to any conclusion until we talk to him, he said, trying to sound like he knew what he was doing. Besides, the Toads would want another Toad summoner if they didn't trust Naruto. True, she agreed, looking up from the paperwork. She stared at him. He had a weird expression on his face. Is there something wrong? The Toads, came his reply. What about them? She asked, eyeing strangely him. The Toads knew he was alive all this long. 10 years. He yelled, while going off into a rant. Tsunade didn't pay too much attention. She didn't like talking to a crazy person, even if she was crazy herself. Her mind was on Naruto, and what she wanted to do to him when she saw him. She didn't care if she had to chase him down to see him again. She wanted to hug the boy and then slap him outside the head. Yeah. When she saw him again, he would get his ass kicked for all the pain he gave her. However, there would be a few problems if he came back, and they dealt with why he left. Hopefully, he would come back as easily as the Uchiha did. If he didn't, Tsunade would kill the council. The question was, did he want to come back? If Naruto didn't want to come back, then it didn't matter what the council thought. Even Thing counted on Naruto and his reasons. She took in a deep breath. What is your problem? She asked, while slight tears filled her eyes. She was happy, it seemed, even with all the problems. The Toad. He chirped. He threw his arms in the air like he expected her to know what he was talking about. My Toads have been serving Naruto and I both for those 10 years. I have to summon them and give them a piece of my mind. Tsunade finally understood what he was talking about. The Toads could answer some of their questions. Okay, then do it, don't need to tell me twice. He started the hand signal and summoned one of the Toad brothers, who wasn't with Minato. Gamatotsu appeared in front of them with a strange expression on his face. Gamatotsu, good to see you. You too, Jiraiya, he answered. He knew something up when he was summoned to the Hokage office, but then again, if it was important, he was sure they would have summoned someone else within higher rank. What can I do you? Tell us about Naruto, Tsunade ordered with her tone clearly understandable. There isn't anything to tell, he told them. Jiraiya moved to the Toad and leaned his body against the Toad. I know you know more about Naruto than you are letting on. Naruto is alive. You know I am right, he revealed to the Toad. Gamatotsu glanced to Tsunade, whose eyes could have killed him, back to Jiraiya, who was in arm's lengths. It wasn't looking too well for the Toad. Why do you think he is alive? Wouldn't he come back to the village if he was? He told them, trying to reason out of this pickle. He wasn't going to turn Naruto into these people. There were reasons why Naruto hated this place. Kakashi has just confirmed it for us, Tsunade told the toad while tapping her fingers against her desk. Her temper was getting the best of her. She had no patience for anything. Just spill it. Yeah, Jiraiya folded his arms against his chest. There is no getting out of this. The toad took in a deep breath. It is true that Naruto is alive, but I can't tell you anymore. He gulped, seeing their reaction. Why not? Tsunade jumped up from her desk. 2 different sources told her brother was alive, and there wasn't anything she could do besides sitting around and wait for information. It annoyed her. Jiraiya, you have our loyalty. He paused, receiving a smile from Jiraiya. However, our loyalty also lays with Naruto in the end. Our loyalty for him is greater than our loyalty for you. In other words, I won't betray him to you, Gamatotsu revealed, getting ready to receive a blow from one of the two. Tsunade and Jiraiya stared at the toad, wondering what they could do. So you betray us to him? Tsunade asked, narrowing her eyes at him. No, Naruto never asks about you, nor does he talks about you too much, Gamatotsu revealed. The situation wasn't good. Well, to us anyways. The Hokage felt like the wind was knocked right out of her. Did he really not care about the village and her? Tears threatened to fall. Jiraiya noticed Tsunade's turn for the worse. Can you tell us anything? The toad sage asked, keeping a close eye on the Hokage. Gamatotsu stared at the ceiling, wondering if he could tell them anything. Naruto has a good reason for staying away, and he doesn't mean Konoha any harm. He paused. That is all I can say. The toad smiled and disappeared in a pop of smoke. Jiraiya only took his eyes off of Tsunade for a second, and in that time, Tsunade disappeared. His only guess was that she was planning and chasing after Naruto herself. He didn't waste time and darted out the window after the Hokage. It didn't long before he caught up with her, halfway to Konoha Gate. He grabbed onto her arm. What are you doing? He asked. She didn't look at him. Her eyes looked off into the distance, trying to figure out which path would be the best way to go. After the brat. She answered him, pulling her arm away from him. You are the Hokage. You have to stay here in the village. I can't, knowing that he is out there. You have to protect the village. If you go, it will get out and leave the village defenseless. He paused, sensing her killing intent. He glanced around, noticing the scene that they were making. Anbu showed up, wondering what was going on with their Hokage. Jiraiya lowered his voice. I know how you feel, but you leaving the village won't help anyone. He didn't like all this attention with this situation. I can't just do nothing, she admitted. You aren't doing nothing. You are doing so much. He paused. I will go after him myself, he told her. Okay, she replied, feeling somewhat comfortable. I wonder what Kakashi has found, and if Naruto. She wasn't able to finish her sentence. Every fiber of her being desired to chase after him. Minato was having the time of his life playing with the village children. He liked being around children his own age. Sure, hanging out with his father was the best, but it wasn't the same experience. It was something he wished he could do more, but it wasn't too common staying in towns. He wanted to make friends and be able to keep them instead of having to make new ones every time they move. It just made him not want to make friends. He knew what his father was doing was for the best, but did it have to be so hard? He didn't like getting close to people then have to leave. It just hurt. Maybe when this whole situation with Daddy's identity is done, we can stay in one place. That thought brought a smile to his face. He really wanted to be able to have long-term friends. Minato glanced over to Gamakichi, who had a troubled look on his face. The 4-year didn't really understood what it all meant. He understood to a certain point, but his little mind wouldn't let him focus on it. Gamakichi's mind was all too focused on Naruto's problem. He was sure that Naruto's identity was revealed, and when that happened, it wasn't going to be pretty. If Minato didn't exist, Naruto's identity wouldn't be that big of deal. If Naruto and Minato's identities were revealed, it would only cause life and death problems for the father and son. Things would get sticky. So things went bad, I take it? Gamakichi asked. Yes, Naruto answered, taking in his son's laughter. Hatake knows, and soon will the Hokage. He felt himself shake. And then Jiraiya, and so on, the toad continued. Naruto led it against the tree behind him. This will get out of hand. He tensed up just thinking of what would happen next. Why did I have to run into them? Why did Toya have to use Konoha Shinobi? Maybe it happened for a reason? The toad threw out there. Naruto stared at him. Maybe it is time for you to face your past. I don't want to face my past, Naruto stated plainly. I have no interest whatsoever in going back there. There were too many memories and emotions there. Gamakichi studied Naruto for a few seconds. He had known this young man for quite a while, and he could tell when something was up. So what happened? Haruno and Hatake acted out of character. I don't know what to make of it, Naruto revealed. The last confrontation confused him, which was something he hated above anything. He needed a clear mind, and it was overthinking their reactions. What about their actions? More than their words is what I should say. It was silent for a few seconds. Plus, there was something in Hatake's eyes that told me he was telling me the truth. And the other 2 squad members? Hyuga seemed normal and Uchiha just seemed like he wasn't even there. Naruto shrugged. I couldn't tell you what I feel nor what I am going to do. Naruto dismissed the toad and made his way to his son, who was laughing and smiling like there was no tomorrow. It brought a smile to the confused Naruto's face. Sasuke stared at the spot where Naruto had just been. Seeing Naruto alive brought up so many emotions to the surface, and half of them he couldn't even tell you. It was like the past 7 years meant nothing in a sense. It just made him question what he went through. In the end, it made him angry. He went through all that pain for nothing. Just a few days ago, he was at tears, almost crying at the memorial stone, and he hated tears. Crying was for the weak, and he felt weak for all that time. Sure, he was angry, but he also felt happy. There was a reason why he always visited the stone. Somehow, talking to his friend made everything feel okay. It pained him that his closest friend was dead, and seeing him alive and well was something he always wanted to happen. In recap, he was glad Naruto was alive, but pissed as hell at what Naruto put him through. There would be pain. He would get Naruto back for all he went through. Sasuke picked himself up from the ground and slowly walked over to Kakashi, who seemed to notice the slightly inflamed Uchiha. In less than a second, Sasuke had Kakashi up against a tree by his collar. "How long did you know that Naruto was alive?" he hissed. His anger was extremely visible in his voice. "Not long," Kakashi answered calmly. He could feel Sasuke's breath against his face and see the anger in his eyes. He knew how close this man in front of him was to killing him. "Naruto, look at what you do to him." "How long?" he snarled. Kakashi could see Sakura and Neji in the corner of his eye. They looked really to jump in at any notice. Since the first time we encountered him. He felt Sasuke's grip on his lesson, but the hatred in the Uchiha's eyes didn't. Sasuke backed up from his old sensei and walked to the spot. Neji kept a close eye on Sasuke, knowing that the young man could snap at any second. He knew he himself was confused about the situation. He didn't know what to think about Naruto being alive. Sakura had already made up her mind that she was going to chase down Naruto and bring him back to the village no matter what. She just wondered how they were going to do that. Naruto seemed almost unbeatable, and everyone knew trying to capture someone was harder than defeating someone. She kept all that in mind, knowing she would have to keep her emotions in check. She may not admit it to the people around her, but she was in love with the blonde. The sad thing was that she didn't know if he was same kind person at heart. Everyone changed and she knew he was different. However, that didn't mean the kind-hearted fool wasn't still there underneath all of that. She was planning on finding out. "Kakashi, what do we do now?" Sakura asked. She failed at keeping her emotions hidden, and they were very visible on her worried face. "We will try to track him down, and try to bring him in one last time. Either way, we will head back to Konoha," Kakashi informed them, while getting himself in order. Sasuke glanced off into distance, thinking back to when he was 12. Naruto made a promise to Sakura that he would bring Sasuke back at any cost. When Sasuke heard about this promise, he laughed, believing that Naruto was just a stupid kid who wouldn't amount to anything. It never dawned on him that he would do the same with Naruto. He would do anything to bring him back. "Then let's get going," he said. "We don't want to lose him." His voice was plain and calm. "We know, Uchiha." "You don't need to tell us," Neji stated. Kakashi got the feeling that he was babysitting children again, and it annoyed the hell out of him, but he understood why the tensions were a bit high. "Stop it," he ordered. He didn't know what to do in a situation like this. Did they pick up and leave? Run away? Did he stop and confront them? Go on with his normal life and pretend like this never happened? He was the demonic Flash. He was known to be untrackable, but he didn't have to worry about the whole force of the Godame Hokage hunting him down. He knew she would stop at nothing to get him back. In addition to that, he still had to deal with Toya, who he knew got more highly trained shinobi, and his best guess was that they were Konoha shinobi. The best thing to do with Toya was to back off him for a little bit, since the noble would be expecting an attack. Time would be best during with him. However, Naruto did change the location of him and his son, who wasn't very happy at leaving his new friends. Minato was 4 and he would get over it, while Naruto hoped he would. Naruto found himself in the center of a town with his son, both in Henge. This town wasn't the friendliest of towns, and there was no need to draw attention to themselves with their unusual characteristics, blonde hair and cerulean eyes. Plus, he couldn't trust this town like he trusted the other one. They found an hotel in the center of town, which was bigger than the one before. Naruto put Minato to bed for a small nap, which the boy was great need for. Minato seemed rather upset/annoyed. "Let's get some ramen." Naruto, the 12-year-old boy, cheered. He and his team spend the day training. "Baka," Sakura yelled, hitting him over the head. "Is that all you can think about?" "Yeah," he answered innocently, while nursing his injured head. Sakura glared before grabbing onto Sasuke, who wanted nothing to do with her. "Besides, Sasuke doesn't like ramen," she replied for him like she knew him. Naruto tried to argue why they should get ramen, but it didn't work too well. In the end, Kakashi-sensei suggested they get something else for a change since Sasuke didn't want ramen. Sakura chose the one she, though the Uchiha, would like best. "See, wasn't that bad," she chirped after they finished eating. Naruto didn't say anything, feeling like he was second class to the famous Uchiha. Naruto shook off the memory. He didn't want to recall his life in the village. It was too painful. Sure, some memories weren't as bad, but the bad outranked the good. The memory of when he first became a ninja flashed in his head. It did bring a smile to his handsome face. His old sensei, Irika, was one of the few people he really did miss. Memories of his favorite sensei filled his mind. A young Naruto smiled at his bowl of ramen before digging his face into it. He really did love ramen. It brought a warm feeling to his stomach. Well, it could be the fact that is a hot soup of some kind. Thank you, Irika-sensei, he muttered with food coming out of his mouth. It was somewhat disgusting. Irika glanced over to the boy he cared about, stuffing his face. It made the young teacher smile. Slow down, Naruto, he told him. But is it so good? He chipped, while finishing the bowl. It looked like he licked it clean. Can I have some more? Sure, Irika answered, ordering some more for the growing boy, who looked really happy. You eat a lot, he commented laughing. I am going to be a ninja soon. He grinned. I need to keep my strength up to when that day comes. He flexed his muscles, if he had some noticeable ones. Then you better eat up. Naruto smiled before standing up and yelling, I am going to be Hokage one day. Databale. His voice went far. Funny, an older Naruto thought. He remembered his old dream of being Hokage and how people looked at him weird when he told people about it. Now I don't even want anything to do with that place. He knew now that he wouldn't have ever became Hokage, since he was the bane of Konoha. It was a sore spot. Sure, he didn't want to be Hokage anymore, but it was the fact that he would never have been the Hokage. He could have saved the world 5 times over and still be passed up by some traitor. Naruto picked himself up and looked out the window. It started to rain in a depressing way. It reminded him of the time he made the decision to leave the village. It was raining that day too. Few rain dropped through the tree's branches and leaves. It brought the young boy to open his eyes. His body felt like it went through a bomb field. His body ached all over. Where am I? He asked, trying to see if he could move. Not too far away from the Valley of Death, but far enough not to be found, a man answered, leaning against a nearby tree. There are Konoha shinobi scanning the place, which is understandable. You and Sasuke had an epic battle. The man stayed in the shadows, his voice sounding familiar. Who are you? Naruto asked, sounding somewhat worried. If he was in the hand of the enemy, he was screwed. Did you forget about me already? He sounded kind of insulted. He shifted his weight slightly. Itachi, he uttered, feeling fear run through his body. His death felt near. Don't worry, little fox, the rogue ninja reassured the boy. He kneed down next to Naruto and got comfortable. I am not going to hurt you or hand you over to have the demon pulled out of you, he revealed. Naruto could feel the truth in Itachi's voice. Then what do you want? He failed at trying to move. Itachi noticed the boy's struggle and motioned to him, which caused the boy to shake. I am not going to hurt you. Calm down, he spoke, helping Naruto into a sitting position. I am here to extend you an offer. What is that? Naruto glared, not feeling totally safe. Come with me and I will train you. Naruto stared at him like he was joking. Why would I ever agree to that? I am going to be Hokage someday. Itachi got comfortable opposite of Naruto. Funny. What? It is funny that you ever believed you would ever be Hokage, since the village hates you. Naruto didn't respond. They would never choose you, the village idiot, to be Hokage. Don't look at me like that. Just look at how they treat you. Naruto's head fell. I have friends and I will become the Hokage. They care about my foolish little brother, not you. He started to draw in the wet dirt. Just look how your teammate and sensei treat you and him. Different, isn't it? Silence. Just look at how people treat him and look at what he did. He left the village, but people still want him, he explained. They won't want you back if you leave. However, they don't even want you there to begin with. Naruto felt his body freeze. He wasn't treated anyway near Sasuke, and it was clear he would never be treated the same. What do you get out of this? Just the look on my brother's face when you beat his ass. Plus I am bored. I need a challenge, Itachi told him, picking at his fingers. Besides, you don't know everything about me, he whispered, almost too soft for Naruto to hear. Naruto didn't know how he felt about that, but in some sixth sense, Itachi was right. Besides that fact, his brother just tried to kill him, and it killed him on the inside. Fine, let's go. Naruto still felt unsure, but he let it go, since someone wanted to train him with no bugging or pushing necessary. The storm started to die down a little. Naruto glanced over to his sleeping son before looking off into space. That was the best choice I ever made. Itachi was right. He wasn't ever going to become Hokage. It was a painful realization, but he needed it. He didn't need anything else, or so he told himself. It wasn't too much later, when Minato stirred and got out of bed. Daddy, he yearned, slowly picking himself out bed. How are you, little one? Tired, Minato answered, yearning. Time was the enemy, and there was no stopping it. He felt like he had no control, that he was lost in time and there was nothing he could do. He would try, but there was no stopping what was meant to be. His past was coming back to haunt him. In his eyes, he didn't believe he deserved anything. He didn't do anything to deserve it. He was selfish and in turn had caused mass pain to all the people around him. He couldn't count how many people he had hurt. However, He didn't really care about most of the people he hurt. That realization made him feel guilty. He didn't care. It was the fact that he didn't care that shamed him. What happened to him to make him so cold? It made him wonder. He didn't care about everyone who cared about him, and it made him sick that he didn't. Kakashi and the rest of the group found themselves in small town, and it was clear right away that this wasn't the friendliest of towns. The looks they got told them to not stay too long. It was normal in towns like these for the folks not to like strangers. Strangers were the enemy to most towns. They asked around wondering if anyone had seen Naruto, but of course no one saw him. However, not everyone was willing to talk to them. Kakashi would have guessed so, that it wasn't a major loss. He knew that Naruto was in a henge most likely. He just hoped that he had picked the right town. This would be the town he, Kakashi, would mostly pick if he was hiding. The people here weren't very helpful and the town wasn't out of the way, so it had a fair number of people coming through, but it wasn't a staple part of travel. The buildings were of different sizes and shapes, giving any ninja the upper edge in any battle. Few hours later, they checked into a hotel. When they got into the room, they spread around the room as to discuss what they were going to do next. Sakura stared out of the window wondering what Naruto was going at that very moment. Some would say she had an obsession, but she wouldn't go that far. She would just say she was very interested in him. So where do you think he is? She asked. I don't know, Kakashi answered, making his way to the door. He wanted to see what he could find out on his own, away from the squad. Sasuke was too intimidating and angry to get any information. Sakura was too emotional to do anything, and if she got angry, her fists would go flying. That wouldn't be very good. Neji, on the other hand, would be the most helpful since he had better self-control, but he was quiet and intimidating in his own way. It was best if he did it himself. Doesn't matter, we will find him, Neji commented. Sasuke glanced over. He's too far away now. We won't find him like this, he hissed. He didn't want to be in this hotel room. He wanted to get out there and search under every rock looking for him. Kakashi sighed. They are never going to agree. I am going out to see what I can find out. I am coming, Sasuke interjected. He wasn't going to stay. No. You three stay here and discuss what we should do next, Kakashi ordered, assigning a fake task. There was no way they would ever agree on anything, but it would keep them busy. Okay, Sakura answered, while Sasuke glared and Neji nodded. Minato and Naruto, both in henge, ventured into town looking for something to eat. It didn't take Naruto too long to lose his son in the crowd of people, but it wasn't due to anything that he did or didn't do. Minato wasn't the one to stay in one place. He loved to run around. He didn't like to be told to stay still. His attention span was too short to stay still. The blonde-haired boy, brown-haired due to a henge, was lost in the crowd of giants. He couldn't see through the crowd of people. He was starting to freak out, not knowing where his father was. It was true that he ran from his babysitters, but they were always there. He had never been alone. But now he was alone in a crowd of people. Minato's only hope was that his father could sense him. His father wasn't the demonic Flash for nothing. He was always able to find him when Minato darted off from his watchers. Minato tried his best to make it through the giants to the side of the street. It took him a few minutes. When he freed himself from the crowd, his nose tickled. A sweet aroma filled his nose, making his mouth water. He dug his hands into his pocket looking for some coins. Naruto would at times give his son some coins, but it wasn't all the time. Minato couldn't keep them to save his life. If he didn't lose them, he would buy something stupid with it. One time, Minato spent it on a grasshopper. He liked how it sounded and color of the bug. It still shocked Naruto that someone would even sell a grasshopper, but Minato was a child, who was easy fooled. It was quick money for the Khan. However, Minato loved that grasshopper, and it broke his heart when it was killed. Someone stepped on it when it escaped. He cried for days over the little bug. The boy wasn't looking where he was going and walked into a giant. It seemed to be a habit of Minato, walking into people. Kakashi sighed, having been given the cold shoulder for the 10th time. None of the town folks wanted to answer any questions. The only thing that interested them was selling him something he didn't need. And things got worse when he turned them down. They only seemed to be interested in money, so he thought he could buy information. But they threw the money back as soon as he asked something. This village was a very private place, it seemed. They didn't like questions that didn't have anything to do with their business. It annoyed Kakashi, who gave up for the night. He was going to get something to eat before heading back to the hotel, which was something he didn't want to do. Those three annoyed the hell out of him. It was hard to move in the town without bumping into someone. The night was busy, the street filled with people. It was hard to imagine why. The town seemed uneventful, but Kakashi didn't know what this village had in mind for an eventful day. He paused, searching for a sweet aroma that filled his nose. As he stood there, someone walked into him. He didn't see anything at first, but as he looked down, he saw a small brown-haired child. Kakashi glanced around looking for his parents, but no one popped out. Hey kid! Where are your parents? The kid looked up with the biggest smile Kakashi had ever seen. I don't know where my dad is, he answered clearly without a hint of hesitation. Where is your mommy? Dead, the child answered as his mood changed for the worse. Kakashi felt trouble and wanted to help, but at the same time he wasn't equipped to deal with tears. He knew he had to change the subject, but how? Hey, you are Shinobi! The boy cheered. So cool, bingo! He didn't even have to say thing. His height had done the talking. Yes, I am, he replied, kneeling down to the boy. So cool. I want to be a ninja. The boy's voice carried far. He seemed to enjoy the fact he was hanging out with a ninja. It's a hard life. Kakashi scratched his head looking for the kid's guardian. He wasn't sure what the kid had meant when he said he didn't know where his father was. It could mean that he either didn't know who his father was or that he had lost his father in the crowd. Either way, he didn't feel all that comfortable leaving the kid alone. So kid, what's your name? The boy froze, unsure if he should give his name. My daddy said I shouldn't talk to strangers, he stated, rubbing his head. But I guess I already broke that. He giggled. Kakashi almost laughed at the boy's expression. He seemed older than his age, which Kakashi placed around 5. Your daddy's right. Some people aren't trustworthy, but hey, you can tell me. I am a ninja, you can trust me. That's true, the kid reasoned. My name is Minato. The boy cheered. He had the cutest smile. It made Kakashi want to pinch his cheeks. Yo, weird. Kakashi stared at the brown-haired little boy, shell-shocked. Minato was the name of his sensei, the Yondaime Hokage. It wasn't a very common name. In fact, Minato Namikaze was the only one, until now, that he had heard of. A nice name. You can call me Kakashi. Hey Kaka, yeah, I think so, Minato started but stopped at the sound of his stomach growing, resulting in him rapping his stomach. Hungry? Maybe, he answered, blushing. I have no money, he sighed. Kakashi laughed. The kid was cute. I will treat you, then we will find your daddy, okay? Minato nodded. Minato loved to eat, and it was visible by how much he was eating. Like it? Kakashi asked, enjoying it himself. It brought back memories of his time with Naruto, but he didn't understand why. This boy somehow reminded Kakashi of him. I love it, he answered with a mouth filled of food. That's good. Kakashi wondered if he should push for information. There was something here, he knew it. He just had to look at the boy's name to see that. He wanted to know about this boy. So where did you get your name? Minato didn't even look up from his delicious-smelling food to answer. My daddy, silly, he grinned. Not who gave you the name. Why did he give you it? He named me after the Yondaime Hokage, he struggled to say. Minato had a hard time pronouncing a few things. He was great man, as so my daddy told me. He was. Did you know him? Minato asked, eyeing him from the corner of his eye. He was on the edge of his seat. He always wanted to know about the Yondaime Hokage as well as his mother. He was my sensei. So cool. Minato jumped up. He is my hero. Kakashi couldn't help but compare this kid to Naruto, when he was younger. Part of him wondered if this was Naruto in some henge, but he didn't sense Naruto, who had a certain undeniable aura. This kid didn't have it, but there was something about Minato that still reminded him of Naruto. Mine too. Daddy told me countless stories about how he saved his village, the boy revealed. Minato didn't have a problem opening up about the Yondaime Hokage. While Minato went off talking about his hero, Kakashi lifted his height, revealing his Sharingan. He felt somewhat guilty using it to skin the boy, but he had a feeling, and sure enough the boy was in an henge. He couldn't tell what the boy really looked like, but he was able to see that the boy was still a boy. I wish I could have met him, boy sighed. It would have been so cool, he would have liked you. Really? Minato's eyes lit up. Kakashi nodded. Cool, did you know he had a son named Naruto? Kakashi asked, fishing. He felt ashamed using the boy for information, but he didn't have any other opinion. However, he didn't even know if he had any information to begin with. He has blonde hair and blue eyes. Did you know I have met him? I saw him a couple days ago. I am looking for him but can't find him. He paused, wondering if he was right in asking a 4-year-old. Have you seen him? Minato looked up at him. How do you know him? I was his sensei. Really? Kakashi nodded. Cool, so have you seen him? He asked as gently as he could. Minato started but was quickly interrupted when a hand was placed over his mouth. The boy muttered a few words under the hand. And you are? Kakashi asked, eyeing the newcomer in the conversation. It was weird that some person would come and cover the boy's mouth like that. His father, the man answered. His wild brown hair masked some of his face. Well, I found Minato wandering alone and thought I would help, Kakashi said, feeling uneasy. Man looked over to his son, almost disappointed. Thanks, glad my son fell in the right hands. There are all kinds of dangers out there. Glad I could help. Kakashi paused and looked to the boy, who looked like he was in trouble. I was just wondering, since your son is named after the Yondaime Hokage, if he knew of the Yondaime's son. I overheard the last part, the man spiked. Well, his son was my student and I am looking for him, Kakashi revealed. Just wondering if he saw him. He didn't. You seem so sure of yourself, Kakashi stated. He felt like he had met this man before. His personality and his tone seemed so familiar. However, he didn't recognize him. In this town, no one sees anyone. We like it that way. Kakashi knew this man knew more than what he was saying, but like the rest of the town, he wasn't talking. That doesn't mean you didn't. It doesn't mean anything, the man said, folding his arms. I think it is time, my son, and I leave. Come on, Minato. He took his son's hand. But Daddy! Kaka is so cool. Time to go, the man ordered. His tone shocked even his son, who had always known a sweet man. Okay, Minato whined. His good mood disappeared in a flash. Kakashi watched as father and son disappeared into the crowd. There was something about the father that didn't sit well with him. It sparked the curiosity in him, and that didn't happen a lot. There were so many questions. Why was the son in a henge? Why did the father act so cold when he came across them? Why cover his son's mouth? Things didn't make sense. He would get to the bottom of it. Naruto was beyond mad. Everything he ever had was going down the drain. First, his identity was revealed. Second, his reputation was damaged by letting Toya go. And third, Kakashi had met his son, who gave out vital information. Naruto could see it in Kakashi's eyes, who knew that was more to the story. He doubted that his old sensei would let that conversation go. Minato gave him way too much information. However, Minato was only 4 and couldn't be blamed for it. Sure, he knew better than to talk to strangers, but he didn't understand what would happen if he told Kakashi his name. He didn't understand the consequences to his actions. Naruto could only be so mad at his son, and punishing Minato wouldn't change the past. In the end, Kakashi was that much closer in finding him. Naruto couldn't look at his son at the moment. He felt too guilty at how he had reacted when they got back to the room. He lost his temper, and it may not have been directed at Minato, but no 4-year-old could have understood that. Minato thought his father was yelling at him, and broke out into tears. It took his father an hour to calm down the boy. Naruto had never seen his son cry like that, and it bothered him that he was the cause of it. He never wanted to see his son cry, but at the same time, he would rather see his son cry than be in any kind of danger. And that was what his son was in. It was only a matter of time before people found out about Minato. It wouldn't be pretty when that happened. Minato lay flat out on the bed playing a weird game that Naruto couldn't even possibly start to explain. The boy most likely invented the game himself, but that didn't matter, since he rather enjoyed it. This time, though, there was no laughing. The boy seemed to be deep in his thoughts. Naruto picked himself up and walked over to the boy and sat on the bed. Minato, I am not upset at you. I am just upset at the situation. Naruto patted the boy's head. Okay, Daddy, the boy shrugged. He was still down. Minato hated when his father yelled. It was one of the scariest things on the planet. His father could kill when he was angry. I love you, boy. I love you too, Daddy. Minato rolled over and crawled into his father's lap. Kaka was so cool, Daddy. I think you were too mean to him. Naruto narrowed his eyes in annoyance. It seemed like Hatake had won over his son already. He didn't like that. It made another bond to Konoha which he didn't need. I don't think so. But Daddy, he's so cool. I want to be a ninja. They are so cool. Naruto shuddered, knowing how being a ninja could destroy one's life. Ninja's life isn't a life for you. But you are one. His son whined. Naruto couldn't win with his son. Nothing he said was right. I don't see your point. I want to be a ninja. You can't be. Only civilians of the 5 villages can, Naruto explained, knowing he couldn't just tell his son no. Minato frowned. He wanted to be a ninja so bad, which was the reason why he spied on father when he trained. He wanted to be like his father and grandfather. He wanted to be a hero. Then let's go to one of the 5 villages. Let's go to Konoha. That was the last thing Naruto ever wanted to do. No, but Daddy! That's where Grandpa was from. And don't forget about Kaka, your sensei. What about your old life there? Naruto felt himself shake. His son had asked some hard questions which only showed how smart the 4-year-old kid was. Tsunade, Jiraiya, Iruka, he missed only a few people, but he wasn't going to go back for a few. I didn't have a life there. Huh! Minato was smart, but something flew over him head. That was one of those things, so he moved on. But wouldn't it be great that we wouldn't have to be on the move? Wouldn't it be nice to see people like Kaka again? Oh, great. Minato is trying to talk me into going back to Konoha. It seemed that Hatake got a new partner and doesn't even know how influential his new partner is. Naruto snorted, knowing that Minato had a better chance of talking him back than Hatake. Have you forgotten? I've seen him already? He would have to keep Minato off of Konoha, or else it might prove deadly, not speaking literally. Yeah, but he hadn't seen you. It seemed like he missed you, Daddy. Let's play the tickle game. Minato made Naruto think. When Kakashi made it back to the room, he was surprised to see it in one piece. But that was where everything stopped. The 3 were in a loud debate, if you could call it that. They were all yelling at each other at the top of their lungs. Kakashi was surprised they weren't thrown out, but then again, would you want to go up against 3 angry shinobi? The answer would probably be no. Babies, I tell you, Kakashi called out, interrupting the 3 idiots. Sakura was the first to pop the question. Did you find something? Niji and Sasuke eyed him. I think I have, Kakashi revealed, thinking of Minato. What is that? Niji asked, feeling semi-left out. He wasn't a part of Team 7 and hadn't had that close bond like those three did, but that didn't mean he didn't have a bond with Naruto. He had his own experiences with him. I came across a boy, Kakashi said, telling them all about his conversation with the father and son. They know something. Sasuke was the first one to jump up. Then why don't we find them and drag the information out of them, he snarled. He would do anything to get Naruto back, even hurt innocent people. It didn't bother him. Nothing really did nowadays. I don't think that man would break too easily, and I am not willing to take a father away from a son, Kakashi explained. I won't let that happen again. Besides, Minato was quite free with information. There was one thing he didn't tell the gang about Minato, how Minato reminded him of certain blonde-haired boy. Yeah, something doesn't add up. Why was he named after the Yondaime Hokage? How does he know about Naruto being the son of Yondaime Hokage? Why was the son in Henge? Why did the father overreact to you asking the son about that? Niji pondered. Do you think they have a connection with Naruto? Sakura asked with her interest piqued. She was on the edge of her seat. I do, Kakashi stated. I just don't know why or how. He had a theory, but it was only a theory, and there was only one way to prove it. He had to find Naruto. Toya stood in his study in dead silence. He had a lot on his mind with no end in sight. He was deeply connected to the children market. He was supplier of the children, which earned him a pretty penny. Children were sold on many different values: male, female, race, attraction, age, special talents, which ranged from blood traits to chakra development, bloodline, noble birth, etc. The rarer the child, the more Toya was paid. However, those kind of children were rarely found with the sex, race, and age as the easiest ones to come across. Sometimes he could buy children from their parents, but that wasn't common. It was a sticky job, but Toya didn't mind. He loved the money that he got from it. However, he never got his hands dirty. He had hired help for that. He didn't want to get caught stealing children, now did he? He was a very secretive person, and he didn't need his dirty business getting out into the open, which was the reason why he sent the Konoha replacement team away. Toya hired a couple rogue ninjas who didn't care a damn about honor. Sure, he wasn't as safe knowing that Rogue only cared about the money and nothing else, but that was price he was willing to pay to keep his secret. The only thing that didn't work in his favor was the fact that the demonic Flash was still after him. The assassin knew about the child market, and that was reason why he was after Toya. The noble didn't know who hired the assassin to kill him, but he could think of some people. Toya took a seat while he was getting all his things together. He was getting ready to go on a trip to the market. He had a few children on stock to get rid of, and he also wanted to see if there were any special children for sale. Toya could always use a gifted child, someone to follow his every command, but not any child would do. The door pushed opening, revealing a young man, about 20, with flaming cherry hair. He had the most evil-looking smile ever. This man was in fact one of Rogue that Toya hired, and he happened to a S-class assassin just like the demonic Flash. Are you almost ready to leave? The assassin asked, annoyed. Soon, Rab, Toya said, reading over a few things. Rab was the most costly of all the Rogue ninjas that Toya paid for. If it wasn't for the demonic Flash, there wouldn't be the need for Rab. That was the only reason why Rab came in the first place. Rab hated the demonic Flash with a passion and would do anything to take him down. They were rivals in a sense, with each trying to outdo the other. Well, hurry. I get very violent when I am annoyed. I am well aware. Then let's go before I change my mind and kill you instead. Rab yearned to feel blood between his fingers. He wanted the blood to belong to the demonic Flash, but he wouldn't mind Toya's blood. Rab would do anything to kill the demonic Flash, whose true name and identity was still a mystery to him. Toya looked up, knowing that the assassin wasn't kidding. I am ready. It got him thinking. Did he really know what he was doing? Did he really think it through? Did he really take everything into account before acting? Like his emotions? Did he really know himself that he could take his emotions into account? Did he overestimate himself? Did he think too highly of himself? Did his experiences change him? Was that why he didn't know what he got himself into? Was that why he couldn't predict what was going to happen? Could he trust himself now? Did he trust himself to begin with? How did trust work with oneself? He shook his head. He was an overthinker, who read into every possible detail. He confused himself so many times. If A did choice 1, thinking B would do 1, and B did choice 2, however, A expected B to do 2, so A did 2 instead, but A got to thinking that B would expect A to do 2 instead of 1 and would in turn do 1. And so the cycle started over and repeated itself over and over and over again. It was so confusing. He didn't know what to do anymore. At times, life was too much. It made him wonder why people tried so hard. Being an overthinker made him question things way too much. It made life look much worse than it was. There were times he wanted to give up, but there was one thing that kept him sane. It was that one thing that made him get up in the morning. Naruto wondered how Minato had all that energy, well beside the fact that he was 4. He didn't think he had that much energy when he was Minato's age. He also wasn't as smart and strong as Minato was when he was 4. Well, that was what he got when his son was a protege. If Naruto would have let him, Minato would already be a ninja, probably even a chunin. However, It wasn't a life that Naruto wanted for his son. He didn't want his son to suffer like he did. Minato was moving rather slowly through the hotel even with his father gliding him through the hallway. He didn't really want to leave, wanting to see Kaka again, and Naruto knew it, and it annoyed him. They, both and Hench, were off to a new village. They were always moving from village to village, but it was something that they had to do. There was no way around it. People were after them, or rather his father, and it wasn't safe to stay in one place. It was too risky to stay in one place, and Naruto wasn't going to take the chance even if it meant his son's happiness. Naruto sighed, catching sight of his son, who folded his arm across his chest and glared. It didn't suit the little boy, who was usually all smiles. It broke Naruto's heart that his son was suffering, and he wished he could end it, but there wasn't any way he could. It was too dangerous to stay in one place while he could always go back to Konoha, which he was sure would take him. However, he had too much pride and anger to go back. He would take care of his son by himself, and he didn't need help from a village who would rather betray than befriend him, or what he told himself. Well, maybe they could help. It didn't take long for Naruto and Minato to make it to the edge of the village even with Minato's resistance. Each step from the village made Minato's mood worsen, and it made the walk very sour. "You know, I don't like your mood," Naruto commented, letting the grab on his son die. There was a light frown on Naruto's face. Maybe, consistently moving was a bad thing if it led to his son hating him. Minato was the one person who Naruto couldn't stand to hate him. It was Minato's feelings toward him that held him. "I don't want to move." Minato stopped and pounded his feet. "I don't want to move," he yelled. His voice carried. Naruto felt his ears ring. Why did his son have to have a high-pitched voice? He couldn't wait until his son grew out of it. "I know you don't." "I don't either, but there is no other choice," he snapped. Minato froze. His father didn't usually snap, and when he did, there was a good reason or reasons. Naruto was the kind of person whose anger builds since he kept it inside. It was quite clear, even to Minato, that Minato's whining wasn't why Naruto snapped. "Yes, Daddy," Minato whispered. Naruto patted his son on the head. "Let's go," he said, feeling upset. How did he lose control of the situation? Was he overreading into this? Who cared if Konoha found out about him? He doubted that Tsunade would let it slip that he was the demonic Flash, since it would be harder for him to return. Plus, he doubted that Konoha would mean him any real harm, considering that they care about him in some odd way. The question was if they could keep it quiet. "Fine," the boy muttered, giving up on his rant. Maybe he could cry. That could surely work, but Naruto wouldn't give in on this. This was too important. It was the beginning of a new day. However, it didn't look any better than it did before. In fact, it looked worse, if that was even possible. There were so many more unanswered questions, and the old questions got more confusing, if that made sense. Nothing made sense anymore. It was a strange world. Kakashi rounded up his squad and headed out. Even if there was some connection with the boy and Naruto, even if Naruto was in the village, Kakashi and his squad wouldn't stay. Naruto wouldn't be in one place for too long. Naruto wouldn't risk staying in one place, but the question was why? Why did he run? What did he have to fear? Naruto would outpower anyone or anything. There had to be something that made him run, right? Was it something that he needed to protect? Did it have anything to do with that boy, Minato? The squad seemed rather quiet, which was creepy, not that Kakashi really minded. It was just that he never heard them too silent. If Kakashi didn't know any better, he would think that the town was celebrating that they were leaving. They seemed rather happy and loud for some strange reason. It was also very creepy. Yeah, he thought as they distanced themselves from the town. There was music coming from the town. Creepy. "Kakashi, where to next?" Niji asked, pondering that same question. "Where did you start looking for Naruto?" When they saw him the other time, he wanted to find them. Come to think of it, how did Naruto's clients find him? "Maybe we should keep an eye on Toya. Naruto is still after him, but he might not go after him anytime soon," Sakura suggested, trying to be helpful. She kept close behind Kakashi and Niji, while Sasuke followed in the back. Kakashi kept a firm grab on his backpack and his eyes on the path in front of them. Maybe they should take a peek at what Toya was doing. Naruto would strike Toya when no one expected it, and no one expected him to attack him anytime soon, knowing he was the target of the demonic Flash, or maybe he expected people to expect that. Kakashi shook his head. It was too confusing to think that way. "Maybe we should? What do you two think?" he asked Sasuke and Niji. "Why not? We have no other leads." Niji revealed his blood trait to see if he could see any familiar chakra trails. There were faint trails of chakra, but none seemed overly friendly. However, that didn't mean one wasn't Naruto's. "He won't go there." Sasuke sneered, feeling that he knew what Naruto would do, like he knew him. He didn't. The young Uchiha apparently inherited his family's bad traits. "How would you know, Uchiha?" Niji never liked Uchiha. He may have respected his strength and skills, but that was it. He never really respected his judgment, considering he had already showed his true loyalty to himself. He already showed what he thought, and it wasn't encouraging to say the least. How can you predict what Naruto would do? He is obviously different than he was 10 years ago. You don't know him. No one does. I doubted that anyone really knew him at all 10 years ago. Ouch. Kakashi thought, agreeing with the Hyuga. Besides maybe Iruka, did anyone really knew Naruto? What was his biggest fear? Of course, everyone knew he wanted to be Hokage and why he wanted to be Hokage. He wanted to be respected, but did anyone know him at all? His favorite color maybe? Was it really orange, judging by his old-fashioned sense? What was his favorite thing to do, besides eating ramen and missions? What did he want in life? Kakashi didn't think anyone could really answer those questions. Jiraiya was too busy with his research. Tsunade was too busy running the village, as so was Sarutobi. He was too busy worrying about Sasuke. Sakura was too busy worrying about Sasuke, and Sasuke was too busy worrying about his brother, Itachi. It seemed like everyone was too busy to pay attention to Naruto, who in most people's eyes, didn't deserve attention. We knew him, Sakura argued. No one dared stop to argue, knowing that even stopping for a moment could be deadly. Every second counted when looking for Naruto. You saw what you wanted to see, Kakashi interjected. We were all too busy to see the warning signs. If we were paying attention, Naruto wouldn't have left in the first place. Kakashi sighed. Signals were important when one was a ninja. How could he have missed them all those years ago? He prided himself in seeing things others could not. Maybe he did, but he just had other things on his mind, Sasuke growled. Are you saying that you did? No. Kakashi kept his eyes on the path. He had his eyes on the prize, Naruto. If they didn't pass a corner or something with Naruto, he doubted that they would ever be able to bring Naruto back. Sakura let out a sigh. Were they ever going to figure out what to do? Would Naruto ever come back to the village? Would Naruto ever accept her? Who was Ino kidding? Her keeping a secret? And a big secret at that. It didn't take long for Shikamaru, Hinata, Kiba, Shino, Tenten, Rock Lee, and Choji to find out that the demonic Flash was the son of the Yondaime Hokage. Their faces were quite funny to say the least, well, maybe besides Shino, who never seemed to show much of anything. It was semi-creepy. One thing was sure, they all wanted to know the identity of the Yondaime's son. It had to be someone from the village. He could be no more than 5 years older than them. They had to know him, well, unless the Yondaime wanted to keep his son a secret, which was understandable. There was no doubt that the Yondaime had enemies, and some people were going to the extreme to get revenge. Ino made her way to the Hokage's tower. There was something she wanted to talk about with the Hokage, and if she could somehow bring up the demonic Flash, she would. Surely, they would know more about the demonic Flash by now, right? Would the Yondaime Hokage keep the secret of his son from other Hokages like the Sandaime Hokage? She shook her head. She was overthinking this. The Hokage tower looked rather empty, but that could do more with the time of day. For some strange reason, at certain times, no one enlisted ninjas for jobs, and the council seemed less busy at times. It happened around the same time, day after day. It never failed, knock on wood. I wonder if Sakura encountered the demonic Flash yet, Ino thought, making her way to the top of the Hokage tower. It didn't take too long for the door to come into view. She reached for the door, but her hand never made contact. She heard Tsunade yelling with someone. The door was cracked. Her heart did a jump when she heard Naruto's name, which was weird. Tsunade never said Naruto's name. It was taboo around her, and no one dared to speak for they feared Tsunade's killer reaction. Ino inched closer to the door, trying to make out the conversation. Sure, she shouldn't be listening to the conversation, but her interest was at its peak. Tsunade never really talked about Naruto even when he just died. Ino always wanted to know more about Naruto for some odd reason. Besides, Naruto was dead and there shouldn't be any reason why their, Tsunade and Jiraiya's, conversation had to be a secret. I am sure they will find him, Jiraiya said. Ino couldn't see what they were doing, but she was sure he was scratching his head or something Jiraiya-like. I hope. You know firsthand how tricky the demonic Flash is, Tsunade said, stressing the assassin's name. It kind of sounded like Tsunade put air quotes around it. Yeah, plus he is a prankster, Jiraiya laughed. What is so funny? I don't get it. What does Naruto have to do with the demonic Flash? Did they meet or something when they were kids? Ino didn't know what to make of it. They were just talking about Naruto, and then they switched to the demonic Flash. It didn't make sense. Do you still think he is a prankster? Tsunade asked. The demonic Flash is a prankster? What the hell? Do they know him? Ino didn't know Jiraiya, Tsunade, or the Yondaime Hokage well enough to know if they were close enough for him to tell them about his secret son. If she recalled corrected, Jiraiya was the Yondaime's sensei. She wasn't completely sure. Jiraiya wasn't very talkative about the Yondaime Hokage. He wasn't very talkative with anything that didn't include sex. I am sure Naruto is still a prankster, Jiraiya laughed again. There is no doubt about it. It's probably on a bigger level. Haha, yeah. What the hell? Did they just use present tense? How can Naruto still be a prankster if he is dead? But didn't they just say that the demonic Flash is a prankster? Ino wasn't as smart as Shikamaru or even Sakura, but she was smart enough to be able to piece items and information together. Naruto did kind of look like the Yondaime Hokage, the golden blonde hair that even her own blonde hair couldn't compete with, and their cerulean eyes. Oh my god, Naruto is alive, and he is the demonic Flash. Maybe that will help get Naruto back, Jiraiya said on a sour tone. He didn't seem as jolly as before. Yeah, maybe. What the hell happened? Naruto doesn't want to come back? Why? Ino's head was spinning. Nothing made sense. Maybe one of her many friends could help her out. What would they say when she told them? Yeah, Ino already knew that she wouldn't be able to keep this a secret, and she wasn't going to try. This was too big. Rab was starting to think that Toya was stupid. Why else would he hire stupid thugs like those? He thought, taking a long look at the two idiots in front of him. One was fat and stupid while the other was retarded and tall, ungodly tall. Rab doubted that they were being able to find their way out of a wet paper bag. That was how stupid they were. He was surprised that they could ever talk with any clarity. Those bubbling idiots were enough to make anyone quit, but Rab was too close to the demonic Flash to stop. Like everyone else, he also had a hard time tracking the demonic Flash, which was probably what made him so good. The red hair had crossed paths with the assassin quite a few times, but those were all luck or the fact that they were after the same target. Apparently, people thought it was funny to hire the two best assassins in the world. Of course, Rab thought he was number one, to kill the same guy. Maybe they thought it would be a great fight to watch. It had to be a good fight knowing that they both were S-class. That wasn't saying that was the only time the two ran into each other. Sometimes, Rab swore that the demonic Flash did it on purpose just to annoy the hell out of him and use his special jutsu to transport out of there. Sure, the red hair never saw the hand signs for it, nor really seen him use it, but there was no other way that the assassin could escape so fast without a transportation jutsu. However, those things weren't the easiest to use or to create. Rab only knew of a few that could do it, but he only heard of them from stories from the people of his village. Rab was from Iwagakure, which knew personally the benefits, or rather the deadly effects, of a transportation jutsu. Iwagakure had faced a ninja who had mastered the technique, and he was the Yondaime Hokage. Minato Namikaze had used his transportation jutsu to win the ninja war between their two countries. That was why Namikaze was called the Yellow Flash. It still bothered Iwagakure. Rab knew that the village would do anything to get back at Konoha, or rather the dead Hokage. However, the Yellow Flash didn't have any children, and only his blood child could learn that transportation jutsu. And if he did have a child, he was sure Iwagakure would have done anything to kill them and get their hands on that jutsu. Anyway, Toya was paying Rab rather well enough that he could be a king of a small country. Well, maybe not that much. And all that money made Rab put up with the two idiots, whose names escaped him. Rab didn't bother learning names, or rather their names, which he was sure would surely die when the demonic Flash came along. But then again, Rab might had killed the assassin before he had the chance to kill them. However, I might let him kill those two idiots. Rab wished he knew the demonic Flash's name. He would have to make sure he asked when he had his heart in his hand, or rather his hand around his heart. He didn't know how long a man could survive without a heart. He knew it wasn't long, but he didn't want him to live long. He just wanted him to live long enough to learn his name. Then maybe he would write the demonic Flash's name on his chest and parade the assassin's body around to show the world who he was. Rab really hated that man. However, he didn't know who he hated more, the two bubbling idiots, or the demonic Flash. They were close, but for different reasons. The two stupid, retarded, imbecilic idiots were perverts, as Rab was soon to find out. Toya was out of earshot and couldn't hear what the two idiots were saying. Toya was too busy bossing his servants around. Maybe I can kill him next after he pays me. Rab hated annoying people, and the two idiots and Toya were definitely annoying. Why couldn't they be like the other bloody rogue ninjas and be fucking quiet? Rab doubted that he would be fired for killing the two idiots, but there wasn't a doubt in his mind that his final paycheck would be less if he did. They were talking about how the children were defenseless, and how much fun it would be to play with them. Rab doubted that Toya would care to find out what his thugs were planning to do with his products. He would only care if the children were reduced in their capabilities. Rab loved blood and killing and all the things that went along with that. He didn't care what others did along as it didn't hurt him. He didn't care that Toya were selling and killing children. He didn't care that he murdered people. Crime didn't bother him, but for some odd reason, sexual crimes did. Rab could kill a child in cold blood and play with their blood, but he could never do any sexual activity to them. Rab could kill women and rip out their hearts and other organs, but he could never rape them. He could abuse them, men, women, and children, but never in a sexual way. He didn't understand why, but he just didn't. Maybe it had to do with feeling the effects himself. It took everything that Rab had not to kill the stupid, retarded, imbecilic, perverted idiots. Why did Toya hire them again? Did he not care for his product's condition? Children were destroyed by it. Maybe their cost was cheap and that was the only thing that Toya cared about. Rab didn't know why. Blood. I need to spill their blood. That thought repeated over and over in his head. He made up his mind he would kill those two idiots as soon as he got paid. It would be bad for business if he killed his employer, which was something he really wanted to do. He didn't know what would happen if he killed those two. Would it affect his paycheck? Rab glanced off into the distance, wondering what the demonic Flash's face would look like when he dug the assassin's own sword into his body and twisted it around. He would love to see the demonic Flash's face riddled with pain. The look of failure flashing through his eyes when he realizes that he had lost. Rab let out a chuckle, which turned a few heads. His laugh sounded pure evil and could make anyone pee their pants. Too bad the two idiots were too stupid to be afraid. He would love to scare them to death. Stupid, retarded, imbecilic, perverted idiots had surpassed their supposed lifespan. Well, it was surprising that they lived past the age of 2. No one that stupid could be expected to live. Kit, are you ready? Toya asked, closing the distance between them. The fat, short idiot looked up from whatever he had in his hand. Yes, I and Kit ready, he said. His stupid voice wasn't very clear. It was hard to understand. It annoyed Rab. Well, what didn't? Me ready too, Kit answered. He sounded stupider if that was possible. Good, then go, Toya ordered, pointing. Tit and Kit, brothers if you could believe it, wobbled away. It didn't seem like they were capable to move any other way. Running was out of the question. Rab, don't kill them just yet. Rab muttered, caught off guard. He never expected Toya to know he wanted to kill them. Was his face that readable? Don't worry. I would rather you kill them. I don't feel like paying them and they are too stupid to realize that, but they serve their purpose. It doesn't take much to do the job. Anyone can outsmart a small child, I think. Anyway, Toya shrugged. He wasn't sure if those two were even smart enough to outsmart a child. Rab glanced at Toya, who would double-cross anyone if he could. There was no doubt in Rab's mind that Toya would double-cross him if he could. Somewhere in the back of his head, Rab knew that Toya would have him kill all the other guys he didn't need just so he didn't have to pay them. Anyway, let's get going, Toya said, waving his servant's head. Rab let Toya and his servants, plus the other rogue ninjas, pass him by. He barely moved for a few seconds. There was something about Tit and Kit that bothered him. He just wanted to go after them. What was happening to him? Maybe Tit and Kit were just so stupid that Rab couldn't allow them to live. Rab didn't know, but he was going to keep an eye on the two idiots. Minato didn't like his henge. He liked being blonde. It made him feel special, but this brunette color made him just like everyone else. He didn't want to blend in with the crowd, but that was what his father wanted for him, for them. His father wanted them to blend in, to be just like everyone else. It wasn't fair. Minato Namikaze too wasn't normal. He was special, and there was no way he would allow anyone to make him normal and not special. Can I take it off, Daddy? Minato asked, dragging his feet. It only made them travel slower, since Minato was too small to travel any other way. Naruto never really tried to do the Hiraishin Jutsu with a son and didn't know what would happen. Naruto really wasn't going to risk his son to try. Plus, Minato wasn't skilled enough to travel by tree jumping like most ninjas. No, keep the henjan, Naruto ordered. This whole running thing was annoying as fuck. It was so annoying to have to pack, unpack, and make sure you weren't followed. It was one of those things that Naruto would do forever. He wouldn't stand for it. However, it wouldn't be forever. When Minato got old enough, he would be some help. However, that was only if Naruto trained him in the way of ninja, and he didn't. Minato didn't answer. He was 4, not an angel. He wasn't perfect, but he and his father liked that. Being perfect was overrating, as so was normal, but his father didn't agree with that part. He wished he could change his father's mind. Maybe he could get his father to train him to be a ninja. Maybe he could get his father back to that Konoha place. Maybe he could get his father to smile again, really smile. He wanted to make his father happy, which was something he didn't think was possible. Was he more trouble than worth to his father? He doubted his father's love for him. Minato, what is wrong? Naruto asked, noticing his son's behavior. He, however, never really looked back. He stared at him from the corner of his eye. Nothing, father, Minato said distantly. Was his father's behavior his fault? Would his father's life be better without him? Naruto flinched. He didn't want Minato to call him father. It made their relationship sound distant. It was cold. Are you sure, little one? He asked. Minato looked up. He liked his father's nicknames for him. To him, the nicknames were always a gift. It takes time to come up with a nickname, and it made Minato happy to know his father took the time. However, there was still the doubt. I wonder if Kaka could help. Minato made up his mind. He was going to look for Kaka even without his permission. His father would just have to deal. Yes, Daddy, the boy glanced around. Maybe he could sneak off. There was a small hole in the foliage, and he went for it. He ran. Naruto wasn't expecting it, and was caught off guard. Minato! Minato! Naruto yelled, spying the boy running for the bushes. What is he thinking? There was no way for a boy to outrun him no matter how hard he ran. Minato disappeared in the foliage, but Naruto knew where he was. Minato wasn't that hard to lose track of, well, that is if he was watching him and not the toads. Naruto kept track of him from the trees. Where is he going? He asked, still in henge. Minato seemed to be going in some random direction, and Naruto didn't know if he should stop his son at all. Maybe he would learn something about his son. Did it have anything to do with Hataki? His son was quite taken with him for some odd reason. Kakashi kept his eyes forward as they made their way through the trees. For once no one spoke and it was quite peaceful. He was able to think. He was able to wonder, but that wasn't always positive. He thought back to the past and how he treated Naruto. He wished he could take it back, but it wasn't possible. He treated Naruto like he wasn't there, like he wasn't as important as Sasuke. But in a matter of facts, he was equally if not more important than Sasuke. Sasuke was boiling on the inside. He would do anything to bring back Naruto, and he wasn't sure why. But he was going to bring him back no matter what. He would beat him to an inch of life to bring him back. There wasn't anything that Naruto could do to stop Sasuke from kicking his butt back to Konoha. Uchiha was a very violent person. Sakura didn't know much about anything. She knew about medical stuff, of course, but other than that, her knowledge was extremely limited. She hated it. She felt useless, like in this situation. What could she say to help? However, she was a medical ninja and that was why she was needed. However, what did Naruto need? Neji was probably the most logical of the four, and it was always good for someone to be logical. Being emotional wasn't helping anyone, but dealing with Naruto wasn't ever logical, and Neji learned that the hard way. Naruto made everything you knew before invalid. It could make any logical person act emotionally. Sense anything? Kakashi asked. Yes, there are a few people traveling along the path, but none seemed to be Naruto, Neji answered. Naruto was very tricky to track. He could mask himself very well. Still in Henge, Naruto watched his son like a hawk and he let Minato put a little more distance between them. What are you up to, son? What is going on in that little head of yours? He left his son go hoping that he would find out what his son was up to. Sure, it was risky to let his son distance himself, but if he didn't, he was sure his son would resent him. He couldn't stand it if his son did. The Henge blonde stood high in a tree. His son seemed to be getting tired with all that running he was doing. Son, what are you doing? Naruto whispered. It looked like the boy was looking for something. Naruto jumped forward a few trees, closing the distance a little bit. He frowned seeing his son fall, but he didn't go to him. He flinched seeing tears sparkled on the boy's face. It seemed like he scratched his tiny knee, but he kept on going. It marveled Naruto to see his son push forward, but he was Naruto's son after all. It was then his next jump that he lost track of his son. He wasn't paying attention to anything or anyone else. It, however, was still shocking that someone was able to get past his senses. Naruto had in fact run into someone, knocking them both back. They both were able to rebound and land safely on the ground. I am sorry about that, Naruto commented, knowing the accident was his fault. You better be, the man responded. It didn't take too long to recognize the man. He had seen them so many times. They had faced each other so many times before. This man was out to kill him. Rab was a very violent and deadly person. Naruto tensed up, but relaxed the next. Rab didn't know that he was the demonic Flash, and he was safe for now. I was looking at something. Whatever, Rab glared, studying the man in front of him. He didn't seem like a ninja of any type. However, his moves and presence seemed to be that of a ninja. It was just too bad that he was in a hurry to find out how good he was. Naruto watched Rab disappear. It was no wonder that he ran into someone. Rab was very hard to keep track of when he was paying attention to what he was doing. Naruto shrugged. He was just happy that Rab wasn't interested in killing him, or else there would have been trouble. Naruto never had a full-out battle with that man and wasn't sure who would end up the winner. However, none of that was important. Minato was gone. Naruto had lost track of him in the fall, and the bad thing was that Rab was out there. Rab didn't think twice in killing a small child. In addition, Minato's chakra wasn't very traceable, since Naruto never really let him work on his chakra. Whose fault was that now? However, Naruto had an act of finding Minato. What was Minato thinking? That was the question. The answer was short. No, the boy wasn't thinking. 1. He would never be able to escape his father, who could find anyone in a matter of seconds. 2. He had no idea where Kaka was or where to look for him. 3. He was 4 years old child with no real skills. Sure, he could throw a kunai pretty well. He could produce a clone, a solid clone. He could outprank anyone, well besides his father. However, that didn't mean he could last alone in the woods. Minato was lost. He didn't know what else to do. Maybe he could call out for his father and his father would be there in a matter of seconds.